have to score some points, and that's what Dan Reeves was saying yesterday. He thinks that they're going to have to score 24 points. They have Rodney Hampton back. They're going to have to be able to run the ball, play pass, take some shots at the thing. But I think they're also going to have some big plays from their defense and their special teams.
The Cowboys have won the toss. Daloiso will kick it off. A loud crowd. Kevin Williams downs it in the end zone. I don't think I've ever heard this crowd as into it and as loud as they are today. Troy Aikman, the Cowboy quarterback. In front of him, that strong, big offensive line. Frank Cornish instead of Stepnoski. And those who handle the ball for Aikman, Novacek, Harper, Irvin, Darrell Johnston, and Emmitt Smith. First and 10 Dallas at their own 20. First series of the day. Smith. About 8. Stopped by Guyton. The Giant defense. They've been strong all year long. Fox, Dillard, and Hamilton, the front three. Brooks back as one of the inside linebackers with Bailey. Lawrence, Taylor, and Miller on the outside. The secondary is Raymond Jackson, Guyton, and Mark Collins. Second and 2. Emmitt Smith got 8 on the first carry. Flag on the play as Smith comes close to a first down. Stopped by Stacy Dillard.
Yeah, I was talking to Norris Turner, the offensive coordinator, just out in the hall before the game started, Pat. He says that what they're going to have to do is loosen that Giant defense up and really start running Emmitt Smith a lot early in the game. So he said they're going to give him a heavy dose of number 22 early.
Offside, number 75, defense, lined up in the neutral zone, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Dan Reeves was talking about Emmitt Smith yesterday, said he never seems to get tired. He just keeps coming back and coming back.
Yeah, he's so strong, and his legs are so strong, and he runs so strong, and he has everything a great running back has to have. I mean, he has the vision, and he has the cutting ability, and he has the strength and the toughness, and anything you want in a running back, Emmitt Smith is that guy.
Pro Bowler Darrell Johnston was the man in motion. Aikman. Pass complete to Novacek. The Cowboys plan to get him a lot more involved today, Novacek.
Well, last year when they had a lot more two tight ends, Jay Novacek caught a lot more passes. You see, he only has 40 this year, but the guy who picked up that slack was Darrell Johnston. They've really been, in fact, Troy Aikman was saying last night that all year they've been mauling Jay Novacek. They just jump on him, grab him, do everything to him, but Johnston has been open more.
Two tight ends this time. Nate Newton jumped the count. Mark Tierney started backward, and then Newton jumped.
Ball start, number 71, offense. No snap, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jimmy Johnson, the master motivator. Second and 9, make it.
I'll tell you, Jimmy Johnson knows what he wants and lets his players know exactly what he wants, and they're a top organization. I mean, they have a plan for everything.
Aikman to throw it. Outside to Darrell Johnston. Picked up about 4. The Giants converge quickly. Myron Guyton was the first man there, helped by Mark Collins. Phil Simms.
Yeah, that's probably the longest thing. You come out, you get warmed up, you go in, you have the introductions, the crowd's all fired up. It's the biggest game of your season, and you have to stand over in that sideline waiting to get the ball, and you're playing against a team like the Cowboys that have so many weapons. You just hope you get a big third down play on defense.
Aikman back quickly. Outside to Smith. Not quite enough for the first down. Jesse Armstead was the nearest Giant defender. Smith indicating to the sideline they need about 6 inches.
And Jimmy Johnson has his biggest decision early in the game, and he's already made it, Pat. He's not going to take a chance here on 4th down. He's going to punt it.
John Jett in to kick for Dallas. Back deep, the dangerous Dave Meggett.
Giants only had 10 guys on the field. Now they have 11, so they're ready to go in their return.
Jett hasn't had to do a lot of punting. Gets it out. Meggett signals fair catch. And the Giants will take over at their own 24. No score. The Giants' first drive coming up.
We'd like to show you our new Achieva Special Edition.
The Giants have the ball, led by Phil Simms at quarterback. An outstanding year for Phil. In front of him, it'll be Jumbo Elliott starting after problems with a bad back at left tackle. They need him. Roberts, Oates, Kratz, and Riesenberg, the rest of the offensive line. Rodney Hampton, who did not play in the first game against the Cowboys down at Texas Stadium. Jared Bunch, Callaway, Jackson, and Cross. Phil Simms. Been a very, very good year for Phil. Hampton. Slung down by Norton and Dixon Edwards. The front four for Dallas led in place of Haley. Maryland, Casillas, and Tolbert. Smith, Norton, and Edwards, the linebackers. And the secondary, Larry Brown and Kevin Smith, the cornerbacks. Everett and Woodson, the safety. 2nd and 7. Hampton got 3. Bob Kratz might have moved a little bit early.
Yeah, that's what you get in a big game.
Number 61, offense.
Yeah, we saw the
5 yard
Cowboys.
penalty, 2nd down.
We saw the Cowboys jump early on their first possession. Now the Giants. I mean, everyone gets fired up. You know, you want those offensive linemen. Okay, come on, guys. We got to pancake them. We got to go. We got to go. And then the first hard count they hear, and that's what Simms gave was a hard count. Here's and those guys, they're just ready to go. I mean, the first thing that can set them off is going to set them off, especially early in a big game like this.
2nd and 12. Meggett behind Simms this time. Pierce was the man in motion. Simms looking at Meggett. Now looks the other way. Has his tight end, Aaron Pierce. Fumble. And I think the Giants got it back. It's going to be shaky.
From the signs, it looks like the
Dallas got it back.
You have an official without a cap pointing towards Dallas's way. Great read by Simms, though. He had Meggett to the left. He has Pierce to the right. You see him look to the left and then come back to Pierce. Now, in looking at Meggett, that took that safety out of there, and that led Aaron Pierce right down the middle, and he just got that ball stripped out of there. Meggett wins for it, didn't get it, and the Cowboys came up with it.
Darren Woodson came up with it. And so Dallas takes over at about their own 40. Call it the 37.
That was a big play for the Giants. It turned out to be a big play for the Cowboys. One of the things that both teams talked about yesterday is, one, that on defense they have to get turnovers, and the other side, but on offense, we can't turn the ball over.
Cowboy 1st and 10 at the 38. And Aikman to throw it. He looked in the direction of Emmitt Smith. A flag on the play.
Usually when that guy throws it from that deep position, it's going to be against the tight end.
Holding number 54, defense.
Against Carlton Bailey.
Automatic 1st down.
See, that deep guy keys the tight end, and it's usually someone doing something to the tight end. And that's what Aikman was saying. He was saying, you know, last year was a lot easier to get the ball to Jay Novacek. And Of course, when you get a guy like Jay Novacek, who's a Pro Bowl tight end, you know that he's going to draw a crowd. He said they're just doing everything to him.
They grab him every play. Johnston on the move. And Aikman to throw it again. Michael Irvin. Irvin stays on his feet and gets to the Giant 40 and a half. Greg Jackson was the defender.
You watch Aikman here, and again, a little play pass, and then look at this pass protection, the time that he has. And if he has time, this guy can get the ball in there anywhere. And the guy that he's going to look for most of the day is number 88, Michael Irvin.
Harper comes right this time. Irvin is left. They go in a hurry, and Emmitt Smith is tracked down from behind by Keith Hamilton.
I was talking to Jimmy Johnson before the game, Pat, and he says that in all the years that he's had Emmitt Smith, this is his 4th year, he said he's never seen him as excited in practice as he was this week. He said he's never seen him get ready for a game. He said, you know, that's not one of his strengths, is getting ready and practice and all that. He said, but he practiced harder this week for this game than he has in any other game in 4 years of Cowboys.
That's a pretty good tribute. 2nd and 9. Aikman outside to Darrell Johnston. Johnston bowling down to about the 32, stopped by Corey Miller.
Maybe Aikman is going to feature the boost today. Now, here's a guy that has meant so much to this Cowboy team. You know, he's the big play that the Cowboys run to Emmitt Smith is that lead draw. Of course, the lead part of it is Darrell Johnston. And then he's the receiver part who's taken a lot of those balls that Jay Novacek used to get. In fact, he's made himself, you know, the blocker, the kickoff receiver all the way to the Pro Bowl.
I talked to him Tuesday. I've never seen anyone so excited about being chosen for the Pro Bowl. An honor indeed.
Everyone looks forward to Fridays. Delta Airlines, you'll love the way we fly. Oldsmobile, and by Coors Light, aged ice cold for that pure taste of the Rockies. Reach for the silver bullet, the right beer now.
That Dallas timeout means they have 2 left in the first half. 3rd and short. Aikman fell down, gives to Smith. Smith has the first down. He almost fell down. Myron Guyton made the stop.
You know, that's what makes Emmitt Smith. He almost always falls down, but doesn't fall down. You see, he's going to start here like it's going to go to the right and then cut it all the way back in here. And there's no one that does this better than Emmitt Smith. See, he starts to the right. It's supposed to be up there in the middle. He feels something back here and then sees it, then makes that move. Almost falls, like I said, put his left hand down and still made the first down.
Aikman will throw it on first down. Gets it out to Darrell Johnston again. Johnston is down, lost it, and Darrell Johnston got it back. At the 21. Mark Collins cut him down.
Yeah, let's watch Lawrence Taylor, Pat, here, because one thing the Giants have to do is they're going to have to get some pressure on Troy Aikman. Now, one of the guys that if he's going to come up with a big day, if he still has a big day left in him, it has to be Lawrence Taylor. I think he has to get there, just disrupt him a little. You're not going to get a lot of sacks. Make him throw it when he doesn't want to. Don't let him step up, all those kinds of things.
That time, 3 of the Dallas blockers had a shot at Lawrence Taylor. They all took it. The last one, Emmitt Smith.
Lawrence Taylor does strong ground.
That's Emmitt Smith to about the 15. Stopped by Bailey.
Of course, Emmitt Smith is going for his 3rd consecutive rushing title today, so he'll know what he has, but Jerome Bettis of the Rams will also know what Emmitt Smith has, and Bettis and the Rams play later today. And Emmitt Smith wants his win, number 1. But number 2, he wants that 3rd consecutive rushing title.
1st and 10 at the 15. It's Smith again. Taken down by Myron Guyton, but he got 4 yards.
Yeah, the one thing with the Cowboys, you always have to block that backside because you never know where it's going to go. You see, here he is here. Here's the onside. So you block that. But then the other thing the Cowboys do is they block this side equally as well. Because even though the onside is to the right, look at how that backside blocks. And you see those blocks in? Those are the things that make the cutback possible.
2nd and 6. Galbraith in motion. Smith again. This time he doesn't get much. Stacy Dillard as Smith got just across the 10.
Yeah, I always said, Pat, that the best friend of a quarterback is a good running back or a good running game. And now that the coaches call all the plays, I think the best friend of an offensive coordinator is a good running back because when you don't know what to call, you always come somewhere where you have a blank. All you have to do is just give it down the middle. Lead draw.
And, of course, when you have an offensive line like this, you have another weapon. Galbraith moves over to the right side. 3rd and 4. Flag on the play. Aikman gives to Novacek. At about the 5.
I think that was big Eric Williams, the right tackle that moved.
Ball start, number 79, offense.
That was, and I think he had a block on Lawrence Taylor. Watch, here's Lawrence Taylor here. Eric Williams is watching him, knowing that he has to block him, so he just takes a little rock there. You see, just starts to get back there. Lawrence Taylor sees him rock and is smart enough to know if that guy rocks, I'm going to go because they're going to call him for the rock.
That makes it 3rd and 9. Emmitt Smith has gotten short gains so far, but it's almost inevitable that before too long, he'll break one. Aikman back to throw it. Gets it to Novacek. Fumble. And it got out of bounds. The Giants had a shot at it. The Cowboys maintained possession.
You see Novacek gets by the linebacker right here, and then you see the hit and the fumble, and again, Armstead just can't hold on to the ball. He fumbles it. Now, he doesn't have control of it, so it goes out of bounds. Now, the last team that had control was the Cowboys, so, of course, they maintain control and get to try a field goal.
That ball doesn't look like it would be that hard to pick up.
Yeah, but football's the only one that doesn't roll.
From 32 yards, Murray puts the Cowboys ahead. 3-0. 4:37 left, first quarter. 4:37 left. Pat Summerall with John Madden. The winner is the NFC Division champion. The Eastern Division champion, I should say. Onside kick, handled by the Giants, by Jesse Armstead.
Big play by Jesse Armstead there, Pat. Jesse Armstead was the guy that didn't get the fumble before it got out of bounds. But watch this. This is a gutsy call here. The onside kick. That front 5, they always have to check the onside. Jesse Armstead didn't turn his back, didn't run back to block, but checked the onside kick first. It was a perfect kick right to him, and he handled it. I'll tell you, that's a big play.
Really?
Because a lot of young guys would turn and start to run backwards to block for the kickoff return. The first thing you have to do is check the onside kick, and he did.
Actually, a pretty good onside kick by Murray, left-footed. Here's Sims with time. Finally had to throw it away as he was hit by Leon Lett.
Well, he was trying to get deep to Chris Callaway, and again, this was one of those coverage sack type of things. It looks like Phil Sims got banged up a little there. When Leon Lett gets on you, that's going to hurt.
That's a load.
But he does have time here, Pat. This is a bootleg. You fake going one way, you come back the other way. He had good time. He's looking deep. Chris Callaway was deep down the middle, but he had good coverage, and he had to hold the ball just so long, and Leon Lett got there.
And Ogden and punch behind Sims. Callaway is the man in motion, and Sims will throw it again. Through the hands of Mark Jackson.
But Bill Sims is thinking, what the heck does he have to do? He started, he hit Aaron Pierce on a beautiful play. Pierce catches the ball and then fumbles. Then he throws that one, a perfect pass there to Jackson, and he drops it. He thought he had Callaway. He didn't have time. Leon Lett got there. Bill Sims is doing his part.
He certainly has all year long.
He's an amazing guy. 15 years in this league, and still looks like he's been in it about 5 years.
And talks like that. Back to throw it again is Sims. Chased by Jeffco. Down by Jimmy Jones. But Jeffco made him duck.
Yeah, and that's on Jumbo Elliott. You're going to see Jeffcoat right here. Here's Elliott coming back here. Remember, he still has that bad back. But watch Jeffcoat starts to the outside. Then they had a double team on him. Aaron Pierce left him a little too soon, and Elliott didn't stay with him. One of those things, sometimes you have two guys on one, and they both relax a little too much. I think that happened on that play.
Moran back to punt. Will field it at the 11. Gets away from one, but a flag on the play. Kevin Williams gets out to about the 20-yard line. Put a penalty marker down back where he first caught it. 40-yard punt by Horan.
Remember, it was after the Dallas game.
Illegal block. Number 51 on the return. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And after the last Dallas game, that Dan Reeves got rid of Sean Landetta, and he brought in Mike Horan.
3-0. 3:43 left in the first quarter.
Hello.
So, what'd you think of that Bonneville? Did you drive it?
Oh, that SSEI is terrific.
Yeah.
Supercharged, traction control, ABS, dual airbags, leather. What a car.
I told you.
And you were right. It's thousands less than the BMW or the Lexus.
Well,
The Cowboys 3. The Giants nothing. Dallas ball at about their own 12. On the 7, beg your pardon, 5 further back. Emmitt Smith struggled outside the 10 to about the 12. Stopped by Brooks and Taylor. Troy Aikman, by the way, is 7 of 7 for 51 yards.
And that's the amazing thing about Troy Aikman is he's so hot now and so efficient that brings confidence. I mean, I think that right now he believes that he can throw any time on any down distance to anyone and make a completion.
Here's Smith again. To about the 16. Lawrence Taylor on the stop.
Yeah, again, we talk about guys that are going to have a big game, have been in big games, have been the best that ever played, has to have a big game today. That's Lawrence Taylor. I mean, I think when you talk about who's the best linebacker that ever played this game, I think it's this guy right here. Now, he's not that right now, but you wonder, does he still have one more in him? And if he does, the Giants hope they get it today.
Aikman again fell down, and Smith comes out of the pack. Emmitt Smith to about the 27. Right now for an NFL update, let's send you back to Greg Gumbel in our New York studios.
All right, Pat, at the Silverdome, the battle for the NFC Central. The Packers turn a turnover into a touchdown. Brett Favre screen to Edgar Bennett, 39 yards. He'll dive the final few. 7-0 Green Bay. Final minutes of the first quarter, Pat and John.
3-0 at Giants Stadium. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter with the clock running.
That's what a great running back does, Pat. I mean, they were backed up there, then they just give it to Emmitt Smith, and now they're out to the 27-yard line already.
Aikman to throw it. Irvin had it, and it was knocked away by Greg Jackson.
They're trying to find that seam in that double zone. See, Mark Collins is going to come up here, and he's going to make a bump, and he's going to force him to the inside. And then they're going to try and find that seam, that hole right between the corner, Collins at bump, and Jackson the safety. I think what happened, I think Irvin went a little too far in because Jackson got there just when the ball did.
Irvin and Harper are split wide right this time. On 2nd and 10, they get to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith hit down by Eric Howard.
Now, here's the thing that the two deep we're talking about. You see, you have these two corners. They come up and bump. Here, the two safeties play deep. This is what the Giants use. So on that play, Irvin was trying to come in and get in this hole here. He got a little too close to Jackson. But this is the thing that the Giants do better than anyone else. It's that loose, too deep zone, a loose umbrella, and that makes you go underneath.
That's been their base defense for years. Here's Aikman. Aikman got the first down. It was against the Giants at Texas Stadium where Aikman got hurt on a scramble.
That was one of the things that Keith Hamilton talked about yesterday. He says we have to contain Troy Aikman. We can't give him lanes. Now, if you look right here, you're going to see where the lane is. You see right here, when they have the tackles to the inside, the ends to the outside, they gave him the lane. Now, Aikman isn't a big runner. I mean, it's not like you're playing against a Steve Young, but if you give him a lane, he has the talent, and he will take it.
1st and 10, Dallas. At the 40. Emmitt Smith again. Behind the line of scrimmage, we thought he was down, and finally he is. Michael Brooks finally kept him down. He was hit first by Eric Howard. That's the end of the first quarter. With the score, Dallas 3, the Giants nothing. Down at the bottom. Sometimes that can come back to haunt you. Keep the ball all the time and only get 3 points.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that the time of possession is good if while you're possessing you score points. If you possess and don't score points, it doesn't do you any good.
2nd and 12. Aikman looking, gets it to Smith. Smith dragged down by Corey Miller.
There goes big Kevin Gogan going back into the game. You know, something happened to his hat, and they had to bring it over to the sideline. You don't see many guys miss plays because of their hat. But what happened is he broke the face mask on it. So they had to bring it back, and they had to screw the side of it back into the helmet so it's protected. So poor old Gogan, he's there blocking on that lead draw, and he got his hat knocked off.
You don't see a lot of hats that big.
No, he has the biggest head on the Cowboy team. They call that thing the lunch bucket, his helmet.
Next drive straight ahead. Nothing there.
Well, like Norm Turner says, he said they're going to get a heavy dose of Emmitt Smith early. This is the 14th time that Emmitt Smith has handled the ball, running and passing. But here, the Giants win this battle. They stuffed the line, they stuffed the linebackers, and there's Eric Howard making the play.
Howard and Fox.
I was going to say, Howard is playing as well right now, Pat, as probably has in 3 years.
Well, he's over. He had all kinds of back problems. Those have gone. And he's playing with a lot of enthusiasm. Jets kick high. Megan signals fair catch. Makes it. The Giants will take over at their own 16. 13:29 left in the first half. We don't know where we'll be, but we'll be there.
Yeah, it's going to be the Sunday game. It will be a wild card game, and we do know one thing. The loser of this game plays at home against the Minnesota Vikings. We don't know when or where, but we know that's one of the games.
1st and 10 Giants at their own 17. Sims back to Hampton. Tripped up by Casillas.
And the Giants have to get some running game going. You know, they've only run. That's the second time they've run. They only had 3 yards. Of course, They haven't had the ball a lot, but if they're going to do anything, they have to be able to run the ball, and they have to break some tackles. You know, last week against the Cardinals, they couldn't run the ball, but they didn't break any tackles. And the first guy that was there would tackle them all the time.
Injured Cowboy down on the play is the defensive tackle, Russell Maryland. Dallas 3, the Giants nothing. Still in the second quarter.
Tom O'Keefe is in the grip of a really tough coach.
Pat Summerall, John Madden at Giant Stadium. The Cowboys leading 3-0 in the second quarter. Rodney Hampton. The deep back at 2nd and 9. That was Meggett in motion, and the reverse goes to Meggett. Norton on the stop. There's Russell Maryland, who was injured earlier.
There's Russell Maryland, Pat. They're checking his Achilles tendon, and I'll show you what happened. Here's Jumbo Elliott. Right here is Russell Maryland. He starts to ride in here. Jumbo Elliott clips him from behind. Now, this is really an illegal block. If we just look at it and click, see, he's engaged there. See him engaged there? Now watch right there. See, Jumbo Elliott comes right back and gets that right ankle or right Achilles tendon. That is tough.
3rd and 4, Sims back to throw. Standing around with time now, chased by Jeffcoat. Finally threw it away. Hit the yard line marker. Sims went down, chased by Jeffcoat and Casillas.
You know, this Dallas Cowboys secondary is doing a good job of coverage, because that time Phil Sims really had time there. And if you just look at the coverage that this secondary is doing, you see he's looking. If we can stop it now, we can see that everything is covered. There's no one open. And he had to wait and wait and wait, because he did have good pass protection, but none of his receivers got open.
So Mike Horan is in to kick. Kevin Williams back deep for Dallas.
This is where he could use a good directional punt outside the numbers.
It bounces sideways and is out of bounds. And Dallas will take over in pretty good shape, about their own 42. 3-0. Russell Maryland, problem with his right ankle, and they're in the process of retaping that right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one that he got there. You know, when you're playing one guy, he was playing Roberts, and then Jumbo Elliott come from behind and got him right down on that ankle. With all that, Jumbo Elliott, 310 pounds on one ankle joint, is kind of tough for a defensive tackle to take.
Fake is to Smith, and Aikman throws to an open Michael Irvin. Greg Jackson knocked him out of bounds. 22-yard pickup.
Now here's where they could work it. You know, we talk about this double zone. We'll see this. We'll see the safety come over. Now there's a hole right in here, and that's the area that Michael Irvin's going to go in. You see the rotation, but he didn't get a good bump. Now see, because you don't get a good bump, look at this big hole that you have here. Michael Irvin sees it. More importantly, Troy Aikman sees it.
Here's Emmitt Smith inside the Giant 35, a pickup of perhaps 3. Stopped again by Eric Howard.
Yeah, that's the thing that this Cowboy team can do to you. I mean, they can pound you and pound you and pound you with Emmitt Smith. Then you think he's going to stay inside. Then he bounces outside. Then they could throw the ball to him. Then they could throw it to Johnson and Novacek underneath. Then you always got Michael Irvin outside. And then if you say, okay, we got all that, they have Alvin Harper, whoever, every now and again, they'll just go deep to him on a bomber.
Aikman back to throw it again. Drops it out to Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt Smith goes inside the Giant 30. Corey Miller and Carlton Bailey converge to bring him down.
And that's where they're so good. You know, we were just talking about there where they pound Emmitt in there and they get that middle clogged up, so they can't get him in there. So instead of going away from Emmitt Smith, they say, okay, we can't get him in that middle. They're closing up that middle. Eric Howard's playing well in there. Brooks is coming up and so on. So now they just dump it to the outside to him and let him run around everything.
3rd and 4. Dallas is 3 out of 6 on these third down conversions. And they'll go with 2 tight ends. And now Aikman decides whatever it is they want to go with, he doesn't like. So it's a Dallas timeout. They'll have 1 left in the first half. 3-0. At Giant Stadium.
You can tell that Jumbo Elliott is having trouble there with his back, Pat. I mean, just trying to sit down or sit up or whatever is making him cringe. You have to sit the bench and hold on with both hands. It's tough.
Yeah, that's a bad sign. Being consoled by Bart Oates. Kevin Williams in the slot. Flag on the play. Aikman gets it to Emmitt Smith. All the way down to about the 17. He was down. The ball came loose. Mark Collins up to hit him.
I think that's going to be good for a first down. I think the penalty is against the Giants. You know, I've always been against throwing short when you have 3rd down, against throwing short of the first down marker. But if you throw into Emmitt Smith, I think it's okay.
You got a pretty good chance of him getting whatever you need.
Yeah, because
Number 75, defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
that's the second one on Keith Hamilton. Number 75 is here. The first one, they had him for lining up in the neutral zone. This time they have him for jumping offside. But that didn't look like 75 Hamilton. That looked like 74 Eric Howard.
I think
it looked like he got that on the snap count or the hard count.
Here's a handoff from Aikman to Smith. And he gets inside the 15 to about the 13. Stopped again by Eric Howard.
You wonder if everything in its simplest form offensively, and Jimmy Johnson's offense here is you start off and you're going to hand it to Emmitt Smith and throw it to Michael Irvin. And in the first half of this game, that has just about been the offense of the Dallas Cowboys.
There are a lot of decisions you don't have to make when you have those two. Especially when you have a guy like Aikman getting it to him. Fake is to Smith. Hamilton chases Aikman, incomplete. Perhaps was the nearest Cowboy receiver.
Yeah, good coverage by Corey Raymond. Watch Corey Raymond here. He's going to be man-to-man on Michael Irvin. Now that's who Aikman's trying to throw to. Now, Irvin, I don't know what kind of pattern he's running. Now, Corey Raymond does have a little grab of that jersey, but Aikman didn't look like he knew the ball was coming to him. And if he did know, he should have ran a better pattern than that.
3rd down. 3 wide receivers. Williams in the slot. Aikman back to throw. Over the middle. Emmitt Smith. He's going to be close to first. David Tate made the stop on Emmitt Smith.
You know, the other part of that equation is hand it to Emmitt, throw it to Michael. The other part is if you don't want to throw it to Michael, throw it to Emmitt. So you can either hand it to Emmitt, throw it to Emmitt, or throw it to Michael. And that's not bad as long as you got those big guys up front blocking for all that stuff, and they are doing that.
They're going to measure. About that much. Let's go ahead and go.
And he's going, you see Big John Giesick goes in there. He goes in at the right guard. Kevin Gogan, number 66, will go in at tight end. He becomes eligible. They're not going to throw it to Gogan. I don't even know if they're running to Emmitt Smith here. I mean, this is the type of thing that Moose. No, I don't think they'll hand it to the Moose either. I think that either if they're going to hand it to someone, I think it would be Emmitt Smith. But I would think with this type of thing, you just go quarterback sneak. Although they're staying in that huddle a long time. Usually if you stay in the huddle that long, it's a pass.
Smith is deep. First down, Dallas at the 5. Mark Collins on on the bottom of the pile.
Again, you just see Emmitt Smith, the deep guy, Darrell Johnston getting a good lead block there. And that's the soft spot. He went right in there at Michael Brooks. Johnston got it. That's why he's in the Pro Bowl. That's why Emmitt Smith, or one of the reasons that Emmitt Smith was the leading rusher in this league.
First and goal at the 5. Albert and Wilson. Nothing. Charles and Bailey. And Stacy Dillard. Smith got nothing.
Well, you know, Dan Reeves is concerned here. I mean, he would love to see a field goal by the Cowboys here. His Giant team stop him and make him go for a field goal, because one of the things he was worried about yesterday is getting behind early. He said down there in Dallas, that's what did him in. You know, when they got down 17-3, the Giants are not a good team playing uphill.
Second and goal at the 5. Aikman to throw it. Touchdown. Emmitt Smith.
I don't know how much money they paid Emmitt Smith. I know it's a lot of money, but he's earned it the first half of this game, Pat. He said, who's going to be a Giant beater? And so far, it's been Emmitt Smith. They've run it to him. He's running right, left, inside, outside. They passed it to him. This guy has done everything a running back can do. Look, the blitz is on. They don't get a good coverage on Emmitt Smith. Troy Aikman makes a perfect throw.
Murray for the extra point. Novacek holding. Murray's kick is good, and Dallas leads 10-0. 7:26 left to play in the first half.
Emmitt Smith comes inside and goes right in that hole where the linebacker blitzed from. See, there's the blitz. Emmitt Smith goes, boom, right there in that same spot, and he catches his first touchdown of the season.
There goes another ball for number 22 into his collection, into the trunk, and they'll lock it up.
I'll tell you, this whole first half, Pat, could be a collection for Emmitt Smith. You talk about a pro football player showing you what a pro football player is in the NFL. That's what Emmitt Smith is doing.
An all-pro football player.
Well, the best. I think that these kind of games, these big games, are what it's all about. I mean, you know, you'll get the playoffs, you're going to get the home field, you're playing for the division, you're playing for everything. And big players come up big in big games.
Murray's kickoff sails to make it 5 yards deep in the end zone, and he will not bring it out. Pro Bowl selections for the 1993 Cowboys: Aikman, Smith, Irvin, Novacek. Offensive lineman Williams, Newton, Mark Stepnoski, who will be operated on next Tuesday. Obviously, he won't play in the Pro Bowl. Maryland, Norton, Thomas Everett, and Darrell Johnston.
Yeah, now that's a representation. I mean, you get 11 guys. I mean, that's like playing, that's what the Giants said, it's like playing an all-star game. You get 11 Pro Bowl players on the Cowboys.
Hit by Lynn. Nothing there. There's Mark Stepnoski.
You know, he had a deal in his contract that if he was voted to the Pro Bowl, he would become a free agent at the end of this season. So he got that injury, and then he started worrying about whether he was going to be voted to the Pro Bowl or not. He injured that knee. He's out for the season, but he was voted to the Pro Bowl, so he will become a free agent.
Macias jump. Pass complete to Callaway.
That has to be against Casillas, and that's where the Giants needed.
Number 75, defense, penalty is declined, first down.
Yeah, not a guy jumping off sides, but just a guy making a play, a guy making a catch. I mean, you know, Sims gets back, he had good pass protection. Callaway makes a good sharp cut out there. Sims hits him perfectly. The Giants don't need a lot of things going. They just got to start making some plays now, start getting some first down, and get into a rhythm.
is hit after about a 3-yard pickup. For another NFL update, let's go back to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Pat John at the Silverdome. Detroit pulled even on Eric Lynch's 5-yarder. All kinds of room off right tackle. It's a 7-7 tie at the Silverdome in the second quarter. Back to you.
At Giants Stadium, it's 10-0 Dallas. Hampton got 4 sacks. Hampton got a bunch this time. Rodney Hampton out to about the 47. Tripped up by Thomas Everett.
That's what the Giants need. Just something to get them started. Sims hit that pass, and they got that good push to the left side. We saw the first run to the left side. Now we watch the second one. Trap play. Boom. Good trap by Roberts there. Hampton's right in behind it. Runs right off the trap block.
Giants first and 10 at their own 48. Hampton behind Sims. And Hampton will carry again. Taken down by Tony Tolbert. Got a yard maybe.
Yeah, someday, you talk about great running backs. We know that Emmitt Smith is, and a year ago, Rodney Hampton was a Pro Bowl player. And I've always felt that when a running back plays against another great running back, he wants to show his best, too. And I know that Emmitt Smith so far has the upper hand. I mean, he's done everything that a running back has to do, and Rodney Hampton wants to show his stuff now. I'll show you what a running back can do.
2nd and 9. Across the 50 to about the Dallas 48. Leon Lett tripped him up.
We saw the one trap. Now we trap from the other side. This time it's going to be Cratch here. Cratch pulls this way. Hampton gets right in behind him, and you want to run right off that trap block. We saw Roberts do it to the right. Now we see Cratch pull. Boom, right there's a trap. Hampton right in behind him.
A good play by Leon Lett. The trap worked, but they didn't get Lett blocked. Here's Sims. Down by Tolbert. And Lett and Casillas. They all converge. The Giants will have to punt.
And Sims was really upset there because he didn't have a chance. I mean, here's the first one. Tolbert is going to get the first pressure, and then once Sims sees that, he puts the ball down, and then the whole thing becomes a jailbreak. But see, Tolbert's the first guy right there. Tolbert was the guy that made him bring the ball down, and there was Leon Lett and Casillas.
Cowboys were coming after Horan. It's a good roll on the end of the kick. All the way down to the 10-yard line. Dallas still leading 10-0. It looked like the ball sort of slid off the side of the foot of Mike Horan, but he got a good bounce.
Maybe that's how you get directional kicking.
Yep.
You just slide the ball off your foot.
The Patriots beating Miami. The Dolphins having all kinds of problems, and New England playing better each week. Kansas City, 24-3. The Cardinals playing well of late. Green Bay has taken a 10-7 lead over the Lions.
The Giants have good field position here defensively. They have to make a stand. They have to stop the Cowboys and make them punt here and get some good field position.
Emmitt Smith looking for room, cut down by Corey Raymond. Good tackle.
Yeah, but the secondary is making way too many tackles on Emmitt Smith. How many tackles have the defensive line made on Emmitt Smith? They're not going to make a lot, but the linebackers have to make more tackles, because the more tackles the secondary makes means the ball carrier is running farther and farther into the defense.
Those linebacker tackles are sort of the key to this Giant defense also.
And they haven't been doing it today, and they didn't do it last week against the Cardinals.
Second down. Smith again. He lunged upfield for about 3, stopped by Lawrence Taylor and Stacy Dillard.
If you look here, Pat, so far Emmitt Smith has been tackled 5 times by the first guy that hit him, 5 by the second. 8 times it was a third guy, and 5 times it was 4 or more. So the first guy has only tackled him 5 times.
18 carries, 63 yards. They need 2. Jackson. And Smith is hurt.
Watch this hole. He's going to make a little counter move. You see he follows Nate Newton. Nate gets a little block right there. Poor tackling right there. Great running. And I think at the end, Pat, I think he just falls on the football.
10-0. 2-minute warning.
This is the Eagle Vision TSI. With an 11-speaker spatial imaging sound system, solar control windshield.
Last play.
And I think we're going to see as Greg Jackson tackles, and watch him go right there on the right shoulder. See right here, he puts his right arm down and then goes on the right shoulder, and that's what they're checking.
Smith has 19 carries, 109 yards now. Lincoln Coleman has replaced him. Aikman is down by Hamilton. I think there might be a penalty. I do see a flag finally at the 40.
Face mask foul, 5 yards on the defense. Still first down.
Hey, one thing, you lose an Emmitt Smith and everything goes. I mean, here they come. Keith Hamilton, he gets a penalty on that play, but the big thing was that he got by his guy, that he got into the backfield, that he got pressure on Troy Aikman, because that's really the first pressure the Giants have had on Troy Aikman. And it's ironic, it's the first play that Emmitt Smith isn't back there. Because when Emmitt Smith is there, you always have to worry about that run, so you just can't key off on the quarterback.
The word on Emmitt Smith is that he does have a bruised right shoulder. Don't know if he'll be back. That's Lincoln Coleman, who replaced Emmitt Smith straight ahead.
Yeah, we got the answer right now, Pat. There's Emmitt Smith going back into the game, and look, the fans don't like that. The fans know what Emmitt Smith has done to him. Look, he has 151 yards already. So when they see him coming on the field, the fans kind of went, oh, no. I mean, it's just kind of, you know how the air goes out of you? Yeah. That type of thing when he came back out there.
Second
one-man game.
Here's Aikman. Gets it out to Darrell Johnston. Johnston, a Dallas first down at about the 22. Tripped up by Corey Raymond.
Something shows how big Darrell Johnson has gotten. You know, they call him the Moose, of course. That's his nickname, the Moose. He's a Pro Bowler now. But usually you just get your nickname called when you play at home. Darrell Johnston gets his nickname called when he plays on the road. That is big.
Smith behind Aikman, but Aikman will throw. Goes to Novacek down to about the 16. Stopped by Mark Collins and Michael Brooks.
It gets you with this Dallas Cowboy team. You know, you say, what do you stop? You know, you stop Emmitt Smith, they hit Novacek. You stop Novacek, they hit Irvin. You stop Irvin, they hit Harper. This offense drives coaches crazy.
And they've had the ball almost the entire first half. Here's Aikman throwing again. Johnston, incomplete. Stops the clock with 20 seconds left. Dallas with 1 timeout left. Don't forget to stay with us at the half. Greg and Terry will have all the scores and highlights and New Year's resolutions. Be careful. Dallas out of the huddle quickly. 3rd and 4, 20 seconds before halftime. 1 timeout left. Aikman, nowhere to go. Down he goes at the 20 with 14 seconds left to play in the first half.
And that's another coverage sack there, Pat. I think he was trying to get to Michael Irvin right here, and you'll see Irvin get down in there deep. And there's too many Giants on him. You see Irvin there, he got a double team right there. Jackson and Guyton both on him. That's who Aikman was looking for. This is what happened. Now here's how Aikman sees it. See, he's looking down, he's looking for Irvin, looking for Irvin, looking for Irvin, waiting, getting up, no chance.
Emmitt Smith heading for the locker room. There's Russell Maryland, who injured his ankle earlier, waiting in the tunnel. Dallas uses their last timeout. They lead 10-0. 3 seconds to go, and Murray's in the game.
Corning presents an exciting debut, Pink Plus, a new insulation that's silky to the touch. The reason? Pink Plus is our famous pink fiberglass insulation wrapped in smooth pink poly, which also makes it extra easy to install. So get in touch with a premier insulation. For the Pink Plus dealer nearest you, call 1-800-GET-PINK.
That is 38-yard field goal effort coming up by Eddie Murray. Novacek holding. It's good. The kick is plenty long enough. And straight down the middle. That is the end of the first half with the score. The Cowboys 13. The Giants nothing. Turn. Dallas leading the Giants 13-0 at the half.
The National Football League is sponsored by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1994 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Cellular One, clear across America. And by MasterCard. It's more than a credit card, it's smart money.
Halftime statistics, as you would expect, lean entirely toward Dallas. 13 first downs to 2. Time of possession, 22 minutes, 24 seconds for the Cowboys, 7:36 for the Giants. And look at the rushing yardage and passing yardage, and, John, the pass distribution.
Well, that's the thing that the Cowboys have. You know, they have so many weapons. You can see that Emmitt Smith, they threw to him 6 times, 42 yards. Michael Irvin 3 times for 40 yards. The rest of the team, they've thrown 7 out of 9 for 44 yards. So one thing, you know, that we talked about before the game, that Troy Aikman is so efficient, and he has so many good guys to throw to. But again, I say the guys that make it all possible is that offensive line. They've done an excellent job of both run blocking and pass protecting this first half.
Eddie Murray set to kick it off. Dave Maggott and Chris Calloway back deep. Line drive kick by Murray. Handled by Maggott at about the 15. And he gets outside the 30, about the 32, and the Giants will take over.
You know, one good news for the Giant fans here, and, you know, bad news for the Cowboy fans anywhere, is that I don't see Emmitt Smith out on the field. You know, he hurt his shoulder just before halftime. Went in just before the field goal was kicked. We got word that they wanted to look at it. They thought it was a shoulder bruise, but he's still in the locker room.
They X-rayed Russell Maryland at the half. Leon left. Defensive tackle. Howard Cross made the reception from Sims. That's his 3rd completion of the day. And he gets about 9, maybe a little bit more.
And the Giants just have to come out and get a new start here. Remember, early in the game, they hit that one to Aaron Pierce, and then he fumbled the ball, and I think that took all the air out of him, and then they caused a fumble, and they didn't get it. They had a couple opportunities in the first half. They lost them, and then they never got back. So maybe the second half, they got to start over the way they started to start in the first half.
They need about a foot for a first down. Word from the Cowboys is that they're trying to put extra padding in Emmitt Smith's shoulder pads, and he's going to try to go. And the same thing is true of Russell Maryland. They're putting extra padding on his ankle. And he'll give it a go in a moment.
You know, one of the problems the Giants have had, they've had a lot of problems offensively, but one is not gaining much yardage on first down. In fact, that play was the first time that they gained over 4 yards on first down in this game.
They need about a half yard for a first down. Rodney Hampton is the defense. He will get the first down. Up to the 45, stopped by Casillas and Lett.
This is what you want to do. You want to get right in behind Roberts and right in behind Jumbo here in the running game. That's where he goes. You need a first down. They start the double on Lett. That was the soft spot that Rodney Hampton ran right into. You see, if you know where your double team is, then that's where you're going to expect to get the soft spot. And that's where Hampton got it.
Cowboys 13, Giants nothing. First and 10, the Giants. And Sims will throw it on first down. Gets it outside in the direction of Aaron Pierce, incomplete. Second and long, and that's the situation they don't want to be in coming up.
And they're trying to get into mixture. They're trying, to get out of that thing where you run on first down all the time. So they're trying to go some passing on first down, but those short passes that get you 5 or 6 yards. I'll tell you one thing, the Giant offensive line so far has not done a good job. They haven't done a good job of run blocking, nor have they done a good job of pass protection.
Aaron Pierce is the man moving. Seems to throw it. Gets it to Hampton at midfield. And that lunge takes him across midfield into Dallas territory, stopped by Norton.
Now the Giants come in with their third down offense. You can see Dave Meggett comes in. This is where they use McCaffrey, 3 wide receivers. Derek Brown is the fourth. He becomes the tight end in there. Whereas the guy they like to go to in this situation is Dave Meggett.
And he's lined up to Sims' right.
Sims is showing him who to block if they blitz.
Meggett comes out of the backfield. That's almost picked off by Gant. Here comes Emmitt Smith with that extra padding in place inside his shoulder pads.
Yeah, again, it was his right shoulder. And, you don't know if he's ready to play yet. I think the thing that tells you he's not is that his belt buckle's not buckled yet. I think the hat, you don't wear the hat that way and you tighten up that belt buckle.
Punt is partially blocked. Williams hits it, and the Giants get it back. Kevin Williams trying to take it on the hop and lost it. And the Giants get a break.
And everyone's going to remember the Leon Lett play. They're going to say Thanksgiving Day. You don't have to do that. If the ball's flopping around on the ground, get away from it. Every special teams coach will tell you that. Again, you get the block. Here, it becomes a deflection. It's knocked off there. Usually, if you can't field it, if it's bouncing around like that, you just want to get away from it. I think Kevin Williams thought it was taking a pretty good hop and hopped right to him. But I'll tell you, that is a dangerous, dangerous thing when there's all those blue jerseys around.
Jesse Armstead was shaken up on the play. Looks like a problem with his left leg. Kevin Williams, as you said, John, it looked as if it was going to take a good hop, and he tried to field it.
Comes from the outside. They have the end split. Brock Marion comes in, flattens out as Mike Horan punts it. Boom, he hits it and knocks it to the sideways. Now, Kevin Williams is coming up. Looks like he was going to get away from it. Then he saw the bounce, tried to get it, and made a bad decision.
Hampton on first down to about the 32. Stopped by Norton.
And the Giants have to take control of this game, and if they're going to take control of it, I think Rodney Hampton has to be a big part of it, and the other big part of it has to be this offensive line. They're doing that right here. Pierce is getting a block. He gets a block on Haley. That gives him the soft corner. Larry Brown misses the tackle, and they're able to get about 8 yards.
Second and 2. Hampton again. Spins and got about 1. Darren Woodson made the stop. Jesse Armstead. Excuse me, John.
I was just going to say that was a big turnover for the Giants, as we see him working on Jesse's Armstead's left ankle there, because this is the deepest penetration that the Giants have had today.
It's been a frustrating day so far for Phil Simms. 3rd and 1. Might just take a shot here. Rodney Hampton over 1,000 yards for the 3rd straight year. More. Hampton gets the first down.
Looks like Rodney Hampton said it had. I've had enough of that Emmitt Smith stuff. I'm going to show you some, because I didn't feel that he was running hard last week. I didn't feel that he was running hard in the first half of this game, but on this play here, he ran hard. I mean, watch this. When he hits that linebacker, Darren Smith, and knocks him backward. Watch Smith come off a block. Now watch the contact there. Smith goes backward.
First down, Giants at the Dallas 27. Hampton has Simms fake to him. Simms throws. Incomplete. Almost intercepted.
I don't know why Phil Simms didn't throw it to Howard Cross. Howard Cross, he's telling Phil Simms right now, he's going to go tell him Howard Cross was wide open. It was a bootleg. Howard Cross was out on the right side. Now, here's Cross right here. Here's Simms, and I can see it's probably because of the defender there that he can't see him. See, and then that made him scramble, and not only scramble, but look to the other side and throw it where there were no blue jerseys.
That was Tony Tolbert right in Simms' face, and you're right. That's probably why he didn't throw it. 2nd and 10. By Callaway.
Hey, fuck!
He zipped that ball in there. Well, one thing, if you give Phil Simms protection, he's going to find some stuff. See, Callaway, he's the guy in motion right there. And now the outside guy comes to the inside. Callaway goes to the outside, and Phil Simms hits him.
Woodson, the defender.
The only thing is, these receivers somewhere, Pat, are going to have to break a tackle and make a play after they catch the ball.
Well, the guy that can make things happen is to Simms' right. That's Megan. On 3rd down. Megan stays. Pass is caught by McCaffrey. And a Giant first down.
This is the guy. McCaffrey here, that's the guy that he's going to look for on 3rd down. Ed McCaffrey is a big wide receiver, possession type guy. He just runs a little out. Now where he did is by coming back. He gave Simms something to throw to. But again, we talk about protection. Dave Megan stays in to help. That's where it all starts. That was good pass protection for Simms.
On first down, it's Hampton spinning and hit by Godfrey Miles.
I'll tell you, they're hitting down there now. I mean, this is good hitting weather. You know, we talk about, that first half, you're kind of positioning stuff. You come out in this second half, and there's a certain finality about it. I mean, you get all those speeches, one more half of the season, men. We've got to get it done. These guys are going after each other now.
The applause you hear is for Rodney Hampton. They've just announced on the school board that he has just rushed for over 1,000 yards. The 3rd consecutive year. It's a Giant record. 2nd down. Knocked down by Brown at about the 5.
Again, they have to make a play. They have to break one of these things. And you see Phil Simms. He has good protection. He's looking out there. Again, he throws that perfect pass to Callaway. See, if Callaway could have kept his balance there and broke back in, he's trying to get that end zone. But if he could have kept that right foot there and planted and bounced it back into the end zone, that's what the Giants needed.
It's 1st and goal at the 5.
As they were saying, as all the Giants were saying yesterday, when we get down there, when we get down in this range, we need touchdowns, not field goals. Field goals won't do it against the Cowboys.
And the Giants have taken a timeout. Phil Simms over talking to Dan Reed. Cowboys leading the Giants, but the Giants have it 1st and goal at the Dallas 5. They've just taken a timeout, so they have 2 left in the second half.
Well, the Giants came out with a different determination here in this half. I mean, they've gotten, of course, they've had the ball more. They've had the ball longer, so you have time to do things. But this offense is a lot more aggressive now than they were in the first half.
Hampton and Bunch behind Sims. Sims put his head to his helmet, and that could mean something. It means someone throw it back to Hampton. Hampton's going to get knocked out of bounds after about 2 yards, 2.5.
Dan Reeves there, one of the few head coaches that calls his own offensive plays. He has that sheet there. He's getting his goal line people in there. Remember last week they did have a run pass, and Rodney Hampton could take it and run and then throw the ball in this situation.
2nd and goal at the 2. Spins over the top. He's close. But no signal. No touchdown.
This is a trap. They're going to try and go right up the middle. You see they're bringing Pierce along the trap, and Hampton just left everything and just went in the middle, tried to dive over. There was nothing there. This isn't a bad play for a play fake.
3rd and goal at the 1. Try the extra point.
They were looking for Hampton. They handed it to Jared Bunch right behind Oates and William Roberts here. The Cowboys had that middle loaded up, and the Giants went right at it. They went right to the teeth of the defense.
And Treadwell hits the extra point, and it's 13-7. Dallas leading by 6 with 7:42 left to play in the 3rd quarter.
On a run to. Here's Robert Jones here. Watch the block that Bart Oates, the center, gets on Jones, number 55. Right there. Boom! He knocks him back out of the end zone, and that's what got Jared Bunch the touchdown. Now, that's what a guy like Bart Oates does. 9 years. Not the biggest guy, not the strongest guy, but you need a block in the goal line. He knew how to get away. He knew how to find 55, who was standing right in the hole, and then put him in the end zone.
Daloiso set to kick it off. The ball is flung off the tee one time, but this time he nails it. Out of the end zone, almost into the stands. Right now, let's send you down to Leslie Visser.
Pat, Emmitt Smith is ready to go back into the game. According to the team doctor, Dr. Robert Vandermeer, he has sprained his right shoulder. It's the AC joint, which is between the collarbone and the shoulder blade. Dr. Vandermeer said it needs ice and rest, so he'll have to get that after the game, Pat.
And Emmitt Smith is in the game. 19 carries, 109 yards. He bruised his shoulder on his longest run. And now he's back. And Emmitt Smith gets his first carry in the second half and gets good yardage. Emmitt Smith swung out of bounds. Picks up a Dallas first down, a gain of 12. Greg Jackson threw him out of bounds.
Okay, there was a heck of a block by Eric Williams. He's a big right tackle who's going to be in the Pro Bowl. Here he is here. Watch him block Lawrence Taylor, and then the ball is going to come around that end. Taylor has position. Williams gets position. Takes him back enough that Emmitt Smith can get around that corner.
Doesn't take much of a block for Emmitt. Healthy or otherwise, he gets another carry. Smith hammered. After a pickup of about 5, he's holding his arm.
Yeah, you talk about guys getting paid a lot of money to play and overpaid, underpaid, or whatever. But this guy can do it all. I mean, he can run. He can block. You look what he's done today, 7 times to the left, 10 in the middle, 4 to the right. But this guy is also a tough guy.
He's been replaced by Lincoln Coleman for the moment. 2nd and 5. Fake is to Coleman. Throws it to Coleman. He might have gotten a yard. Stopped by Miller and Bailey.
It's a little different when Emmitt Smith isn't in there. You know, the umpire, Pat, is the guy that lines up behind the defensive line. And Troy Aikman threw that one right at the umpire. Here's the umpire right here. The back Coleman comes out and gets right in front of the umpire, and the umpire has to dodge the ball. Watch Coleman coming here, and now he's going to come back there, and he just ducked right in time, or he would have caught one in the ear.
He almost ducked into it. 3rd down. Aikman to throw it. Batted away. He was looking at Darrell Johnson. Pete Hamilton got a hand up.
Pete Hamilton was saying yesterday that he takes responsibilities for slant. If there's going to be a slant to his side, he wants to get in the lane to take away the slant. The slant passes the outside receiver coming to the inside. So you see him coming, you get a push on the guy who's blocking you, then you get your hands up. And that hand up takes away the slant lane of the quarterback.
John Jett back to punt for Dallas. Not a good kick. Megan's going to let it bounce. And the Cowboys down it, and the Giants will take over at their own 31. 5:34 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Only a 29-yard punt by Jett, but there's a flag on the play. Penalty marker down back at the line of scrimmage.
And I think it's against the Cowboys. I think with that punt, it was only 29 yards. I think the Giants will turn this one down. They want the ball there.
An eligible receiver downfield on the kick, number 58, kicking team. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
1st down for the Giants at their own 32-yard line, Macon. Dallas by 6.
One of the things that sets Mercury Villager apart from the rest of the minivan crowd is its unique sliding rear seat. For those occasions when you need more room, slide the seat forward. More room? Slide it forward to the middle seat. More room? Remove the middle seat and slide all the way up. And if you still need more room, call Milo. The Mercury Villager. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
Back at Giants Stadium. Pat Summerall with John Madden. The Cowboys 13, the Giants 7. 5.5 minutes left to play in the 3rd quarter.
I think Lawrence Taylor was explaining to Earl Leggett how Eric Williams got into him and how Emmitt Smith got around him on that play. Lawrence was probably saying, hey, there should be someone outside me, and Earl was probably saying you shouldn't let that big tackle hook you.
Moves a pile of Cowboys up to about the 38.
Hey, I don't know what happened at halftime. I don't know about talks or anything, but I'll tell you one thing. He's taking it in there a lot harder and a lot tougher this half than he did the 1st half. And that blocking is a lot better by the offensive line. And again, sometimes you have to add the fullback to that. I mean, that was Jared Bunch there. You get the line and the fullback like you do with the Cowboys. The line and the fullback control the 1st half for them.
2nd and 6.
Hampton fumble.
No, that's his helmet. I thought it was a ball loose.
No, that's the good news when you can pick up the helmet and the head's not in there.
Jared Bunch's helmet.
They are hitting. I mean, this 2nd half, this is a different half than the 1st half. I mean, watch Roberts pull. Again, it's that trap. He gets right in there behind Roberts and just drives and drives and drives. It was Jared Bunch's helmet that came flying out of that.
There's Emmitt Smith behind Mark Tooney. They're going to measure this for a 1st down. And the Giants have it.
I mean, this second half, this Giant team is much, much more aggressive than they were in the first half. And, you know, there's no rule that just says that the only guys that can be aggressive are defensive guys and special teams guys. Offensive guys can be aggressive, too, and the Giants are showing it this second half.
First and 10 Giants at their own 42. Sims. Away. Another first down. All the way to the Cowboy 45. Kevin Smith in the wrestling match with Callaway.
There's Chris Callaway to the outside, and again, you're going to see him now. This is what they have to do. After they catch passes, they have to think of running with the ball, get up the field, make first downs, make touchdowns, make them, miss tackles, do those things. Don't just sit there and get tackled.
Make some plays.
Remember the last time down in Dallas, Callaway broke away. He was way in the open field. He turned back and waited for the tacklers to come and get him. He still doesn't know what he did on that play or why he did on that play.
First and 10, Giants. This is Hampton. At the line of scrimmage, maybe lunged for a yard. For another NFL update, let's send you back to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Pat, we'll take it to the Silverdome in Pontiac. Edgar Bennett, 2 yards. Watch the right side of the Packer line. Into the end zone. The Packers regain the lead, 17-13, third quarter, Pat.
Dallas leading 13-7 at Giant Stadium. That's a big game. Detroit, Green Bay, this is a big game. The Giants, Dallas. The winner of this game gets a week off. Second and 10. Sims is hit. Ball bounced out of bounds. Jim Jeffcoat hit Phil Sims just as he loaded.
Jim Jeffcoat comes from this backside. I don't think Phil Sims, obviously he doesn't see him. He doesn't even feel him. I mean, he hit him right between the ones. Watch this now. Is his arm going forward? If his arm is going forward, it's an incomplete pass, and his arm was going forward.
Eventually, he did feel him.
But Jim Jeffcoat took an inside move on Jumbo Elliott, beat him to the inside, and put his helmet right in Phil Sims's back just as he was throwing the ball.
The discussion here.
The pass was moved backwards.
It was a lateral.
Out of bounds. It's third down at the out of bounds spot.
Pass ruled backwards, making it a lateral. Let's see.
But they're saying Jeffcoat is coming from behind, and the ball is a lateral.
Yep.
See, it didn't go forward. The ball went backwards. So now it's the last one that has control of it. That was Phil Sims because the ball went out of bounds. So the Giants get the ball again where the ball went out of bounds.
So that makes it third and 13.
Jim Jeffcoat hit him so hard he made a lateral out of the forward pass.
Haggett in motion. And Sims, this is planned. This stroll to the left. And Sims going deep has Howard Cross. Cross has it. Rodney Hampton. Sorry, I saw the 7. It's Hampton.
What a play that was. It's the old throwback. It's the roll left. They had Dave Meggett block. They have Dave Meggett come out and block. Watch it. Meggett is going to come and block here. Sims is going to roll to this side. Hampton gets down to this side. Watch it come out here. Here's Meggett. Boom, right there. You see the double team there? He makes the block that lets Sims get out. Now Sims gets out. Then look at this backside there where Hampton's going. He's wide open. The old roll left, throw back to the halfback. But Dave Meggett made that block on Jim Jeffcoat.
Charles Haley in the game to try to put pressure on Sims, who had a man open in the end zone. It was Mark Jackson and Sims a little too far.
I'll tell you, they're going after him now. You know, Dan Reeves, one thing, he always has gadget plays in there. And that was one of them. Dave Meggett is a slot, comes in motion, double teams the defensive end. Phil Sims sprints or rolls out to the left, throws back to Rodney Hampton way across the field to the right. That's what you call a gadget.
A gadget that worked.
Lawrence Taylor saying, let me have one more big game.
Second and 10. Sims. This is Howard Cross. At about the 12.
Howard Cross is starting to be more of a pass receiver on this Giant team, and Dan Reeves said next year he's going to be even more of a pass receiver. Here he is on the left side of the screen, just working against the zone. He just goes up, does a little out. Just as he makes that out move, Phil Sims hits him. But again, the offensive line, Pat, of the Giants has taken control this second half.
3rd and 3 at the 12. Jackson in motion, and Sims to throw. He does throw. Can make it. Jackson, who never saw it coming. Jackson never looked back, and the ball was there.
Phil Sims had a throw at that time. Watch Sims, it's going to be a slant. He's looking at Jackson. He throws it. It's thrown perfectly. It just looked like it hit him right in the shoulder pad.
He just didn't pick it up coming at him. Treadwell will try for the field goal. He's 23 out of 29. Good. And with a minute and 20 seconds left to play in the third quarter, Dallas lead is 3.
Yeah, golf. Good ball. Golf. Now, football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf.
Yeah!
We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this
Mark Jackson here on that last third down pass. It looks like a perfect pass by Sims. Jackson just wasn't ready for it. Just dropped the ball. Looked like he spun, and by the time he caught it, his eyes caught it, he wasn't ready to catch it.
Daloiso has the ball blow off the tee. He's back up to place it again. The last kickoff by Daloiso almost went into the stands behind the end zone.
That reminded me of one of John Daly's drives. In fact, that's what Dan Reeves says, that Brad Daloiso kicks a ball off the way John Daly hits a driver. Daly never has to have anyone hold the ball, though,
no.
When he hits a driver.
No.
The last time Daloiso kicked off, it went 79 yards.
This one is deep as well. Over and out of the end zone again. Let's check on Emmitt Smith now, and the Cowboys come back, and Emmitt Smith is coming back. 13-10, Dallas leading.
I think they probably just have someone who's going to keep an eye on Emmitt Smith. I think if Emmitt Smith is the type of guy, if you ask him, how are you, he's going to say, I'm okay. Does it hurt? No, it doesn't hurt. Can you go? Yeah, I can go. And because he is that kind of guy, someone else has to watch out for him.
I want to be in the
go. You got to get him out.
I want to be in the game. He's going to tell you every time. Aikman. Novacek. Couple of yards. That's all. Corey Raymond. Good defensive play by the Giants.
Yeah, there comes like 3 points. I think one is you have a healthy Emmitt Smith, and then you got to worry about him. You have an Emmitt Smith who's not healthy. He can be a decoy. You still have to worry about him because you don't know if he's going to come alive. Then if you get to a point where you know he can't do it anymore, then he can become a detriment to your team. I think they're at the second level right now.
The handoff is to Emmitt Smith. He gets outside the 25 to about the 27 before he's tripped up by Michael Brooks. One more play, perhaps, in the third quarter.
You haven't heard Michael Brooks' name a lot. You know, he's the inside linebacker. Has really been the defensive leader of this Giant team this year. Been injured, just coming off a foot injury, but one thing he can do is attack the line of scrimmage, and it's tough to run inside when he's there.
That is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Cowboys 13, the Giants 10. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Have been pretty well in control of the second half. As you look at Russell Maryland, obviously he won't be back in the contest. Sprained his ankle. That's all the information we've been able to get. But he will not be back.
You know, these fans here, at the Meadowlands, they understand defense. They've known Giants for years and Giant defense, and look at them get excited now when that Giant defense is out there.
On third down, Emmitt Smith. Emmitt's hurting. You can tell that, but he's still very effective.
Yeah, he doesn't have the upper body. He's having a tough time playing with his upper body because of that shoulder injury, but he still has that power down below. I mean, this is a guy that can make moves and do all things, but it all starts here. You talk about power. Watch this guy. Watch big Kevin Gogan. They start off on a double team. He just knocks this guy in his back.
Intended for Urban. The only thing you can say about that is it was not thrown very well.
But how about that block of Gogan?
Yeah,
I mean, that's, you know, when you get a guard, when you get two guards, I mean, that's one thing about the Cowboys. They have big old guards, Nate Newton on one side, Gogan on the other side. They weigh about 330, 340 pounds. And then you put those big tackles like Eric Williams, they weigh, you know, he weighs about 330 pounds. And it's tough to go around him, and you know darn well you can't go through him.
Second down. By Keith Hamilton.
And that's where Emmitt Smith hurt him. Pat, we were talking about a guy can help you, a guy can be a decoy, but they expected him to block. Watch Emmitt Smith here. They expect to block out there, and it's just too tough. I mean, they ought to switch and let the fullback do it. You see, he's trying to block right there on Hamilton. He couldn't do it, and Hamilton came up with a sack.
So it brings up a third down at 16. 13:58 left to play. Aikman to throw it. Flag on the play. The pass is incomplete. He was juggling as he went down, Kevin Williams, but there's a penalty marker down.
You know, and Michael Irvin is in there doing the talking. I don't think he's caught a ball in this second half.
Illegal contact foul on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Automatic first down is the key.
You see the throw out here, and we say that they had contact, I guess, before the ball got there. That part of it looked okay. I mean, I think the guy has to be able to go for the ball if that's what they call.
What didn't look okay was those two Dallas receivers so close together like that.
Yeah, anytime you see two receivers that close together, there's a mistake in the pass pattern, but I'm not sure exactly who they called that on because they didn't say, but that looked like a pretty clean end to the play.
On first down, it's Emmitt Smith who broke one tackle. Chased and he gets out of bounds at the 40. You know, someone was talking to us the other day, John, about the fact that Emmitt Smith uses his right arm more effectively than any runner they've ever seen. And that's a big handicap to him not to be able to do that.
Yeah, that off arm. You know, he puts the ball in one hand like he carries the ball in his left hand. Then he uses that right arm, that right hand, just to knock tacklers off better than anyone. But, you know, you think of him, he's short, but he is so darn strong. I mean, in his upper body and his lower body, I mean, he is a strong, powerful man.
Aikman is hit by Taylor. Also there, Mike Fox. That's the fourth sack by the Giants.
Watch Taylor here. He doesn't always come to the outside. He also likes to stunt. Watch it. Fox starts to the outside. Taylor starts to the outside. He just runs right over Mark Tuinei. I'll tell you, that is power. You know, you think he may not be as quick as he used to. He may not be as strong as he used to. But on that play, he just took Mark Tuinei and put him right in the backfield and got the sack.
3rd and 12 and a Dallas timeout. They only have 2 left.
This is a football game.
Oh, boy.
We got it here.
We can offer you this kind of salary, Kim, because our law firm is so successful.
But why, sir?
Dallas at one time led 13-0. Now it's 13-10. Emmitt Smith, 186 total yards. But the Giants have taken things over in the second half. And the crowd begins to chant defense. As John Madden said a minute ago, they appreciate defense. Here is Aikman back to throw. He gets it outside to Darrell Johnson. Did it stop short of the first down? Clock will continue to run. Jesse Armstead and Myron Guyton over to make the stop.
Lawrence Taylor on that play before made a big play. Then on this play, watch him here, Pat. He's going to come all the way in around here and get the pressure on Aikman back here. Watch him. He starts on that outside. Now you see him come to the inside, find the hole right there. See, and he made Aikman throw it before he wanted to.
This crowd and this game have revitalized number 56.
You know, you always say, do you have one more in you? Maybe he's been saving that one more for this last quarter because he's made a couple of big plays there.
The Giants have just taken their second timeout, so they only have one left.
Let's watch Lawrence Taylor again, starting here in the outside, faking 2-and-A, making him take that block, then coming right up the middle. Aikman could see him because he was coming right in his face. This may or may not be his last year, but think of all the Giant games over the years that we've done, Pat. And I don't know that in my life that I've ever seen a more exciting defensive player than Lawrence Taylor.
When he was at his best, you had to make it your business to know where he was at all times.
You know, you could go on a practice field or something. You wouldn't have to say which one's Taylor.
Right.
You just walked out there, you could feel him.
Jet back to punt. Megan standing back for the Giants at the 11. Jet's kick is a good one.
Taylor almost blocked it.
Yep. Megan handled at about the 8, and he's cut down at the 11 by Brock Marion. So the Giants take over. 12-17 left.
He could have had the 60-foot sailboat.
The National Football League is sponsored by Hyundai, cars that make sense. Dean Witter. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time. Duracell batteries. No other battery lasts longer. And by Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for one low price.
1st and 10 at the 11-yard line for the Giants. They trail by 3. Hampton and Bunch behind Sims. Hampton. Hit by Norton.
You remember they were taking Lawrence Taylor out, resting him a quarter here and there. Now he's not only rested in this game, Pat, but he's also on special teams. Watch him on that last punt. He almost blocked that thing. I mean, this play here, watch him, he comes to the outside, then he comes to the inside, and Jet just gets it off before he gets there.
Yeah, he's almost
blocked that.
He's almost the only guy rushing, and he almost blocked it. 2nd and 6. Intended for Pierce. Incomplete. He just dropped it.
Phil Simms is doing his part. Remember earlier, Pierce had that one, caught it, then he fumbled it. Now he throws a perfect pass to Pierce here. He dropped it. Earlier we saw that he threw a perfect pass to Mark Jackson, and he dropped it. Those drops are killing the Giants today.
8 out of 14 Sims in the second half, 2 of 5 in the first. No interceptions. 3rd and 6.
That's what you get for not practicing. You had that bad back.
Number 94, defense, unabated, toward the the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
See, what they do is they usually, if the guys come, here's Charles Haley here. Usually if the defense jumps, they let the play go, and the offense has a free play. But if the guy goes unabated, that's a new word, unabated, that's kind of too big a word. That's like mayonnaise. I mean, that's the biggest word I know. But unabated, I guess, means if he goes unblocked, he's going to get a free shot at the quarterback. Then you blow the whistle, and that's what Jerry Markprice, the referee, did.
Somehow I wouldn't associate unabated with mayonnaise, but it's a big word.
It's a big word.
Yeah. Here's Sims. To Howard Cross. Cross has the Giant first down out to almost the 35. James Washington and Darren Smith made the stop.
I'll tell you, this second half, Pat, these Giants are attacking. You know, instead of running a third down play and just running in there and maybe have to punt, they're going after it. I mean, they're coming back. Good pass protection. Boom, set up. Sims is crisp. He's sharp. He just zips that ball in there to Howard Cross. Hey, Phil Sims is throwing almost perfectly today.
Almost like they can feel it. The lead coming in their direction, and the flags go down everywhere.
And that's going to be on Aaron Pierce again. Although one man can be in motion.
Number 61, offense. Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Aaron Pierce was the guy in motion, which was legal. The penalty was called on Bob Pratt. Sometimes you have double signals. You have a signal to start your motion, and then once in a while the guards will jump off when you're trying to start your motion.
First and 15 now. Here's Sims. And Sims is in the arms of Jim Jeffcoat. 13-10. Third Dallas sack.
Anytime Sims has had time, he's been very effective. And the only time that he's really had problems is when they didn't get the protection. And most of the problem is coming from that left side. And it's been Jim Jeffcoat usually taking an inside move on Jumbo Elliott.
Second down. They need 21. And Sims will try. Sims again is down.
That was Jeffcoat again on Jumbo Elliott again. Elliott's back is just too bad. I mean, he just can't do it because Jeffcoat is just taking him. Watch, here's Jeffcoat. Here's Elliott here. He's just taking him and pushing him right into the backfield. Jim Jeffcoat's having a big game for the Cowboys here at the end. But see, Elliott has no power. And when he gets there, he just gets taken back. And Jeffcoat, gets that good quick rush, gets him stood up, and then just pushes him right into the quarterback.
Jeffcoat's a guy who's been at it a long time and still getting it done. Third and 25. Here's Sims. And now whistle blow. And a flag on the play. I'm not sure why yet.
And then another flag came in late, Pat.
Delay of game. Offense.
Too much
5-yard
time.
penalty. Third down.
This Giant comeback, if you go back to turnovers and how important they are, began when that ball bounced off Kevin Williams. And the Giants recovered after the Cowboys had blocked a punt. It back to Meggett. And Meggett gets back to the 35, tripped up there by Kevin Smith.
That was a heck of a play by Dave Meggett, though, Pat, even though it wasn't a first down. They had so far to go. But that was the same play where Meggett would come in and block the defensive end, and Sims was going to try and get outside the same play he hit Hampton on. That time he blocked, then he saw Sims in trouble. He released, and Sims threw him the ball.
9:05 left to play. Horan back to punt it. Had one partial successfully blocked earlier. Kevin Williams back in for Dallas. Not a good kick by Horan. Williams handles it. Ducks to the ground at the 35. Dallas will take over 1st and 10 after a 33-yard kick by Horan.
It began as a friendly game. Then it took on a life of its own.
Well, you can't turn it up much more than they've turned it up here. Cowboys 13, the Giants 10, but the playoffs start next week.
You know, you're talking about guys playing hurt. Guys are really playing hurt today. You see Jumbo Elliott there trying to get his back loosened up. Emmitt Smith in there with one shoulder.
That's Smith, the ball carrier, stopped by Michael Brooks. Another guy playing hurt.
Yeah, one of the things that they're really playing for this week is a week off. There's a team that wins not only has the home field advantage throughout the playoffs, but doesn't have to play next week. The team that loses is going to play at home against the Minnesota Vikings, but they play it next Sunday.
2nd and 7. Michael Irvin has not caught a pass here in the second half. Aikman to throw it. Gets it to Michael Irvin. That'll be enough for a Dallas first down at the 48. Let's again send you back to our studios for an NFL update.
All right, Pat, at the Silverdome, Eric Lynch, his second touchdown of the day from a yard out, has put Detroit back on top of Green Bay, 23-20 in the fourth. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, they win. They're in the AFC playoffs. They've tied New England 17 apiece. 12 minutes to play at Foxborough, Pat and John.
7.5 minutes left here.
You know, one way you get away from that too-deep zone is run crossing patterns, and that's what they did to Michael Irvin there.
1st and 10 Dallas. The handoff is to Emmitt Smith, and he hammers into Giant territory. Carlton Bailey made the stop.
Yeah, there's a certain intensity. You know, you talk about, turning it up, and I think you have a level that they play in preseason, a level before Thanksgiving, a level after Thanksgiving, and a playoff level. Today, I think we're getting NFL playoff level football.
Emmitt Smith, 26 carries, 151 yards. Second half with a bad shoulder. Williams in motion, and Aikman to throw it. Outside to Smith. The line by Mark Collins.
There's a guy that had a heck of a year. You know, you talk about Pro Bowl players and guys that didn't make the Pro Bowl. The Giants defense had an outstanding year, and probably the guy that had the best year of that defense is Mark Collins. He didn't make the Pro Bowl, and he and a lot of his teammates thought that he should have, because he's not only a good cover guy, he's a good tackler.
Here comes Emmitt Smith. Out again.
Like Michael Irvin on this play.
Hello.
Always have to know where that linebacker is.
3rd and 11. Aikman pump fake. Aikman chase. Throws incomplete. For Harper. And the Cowboys will have to punt.
He was trying to get the ball deep to Michael Irvin, and Myron Guyton and Greg Jackson had him double teamed, and he couldn't do it, so he had to come off it. You see Irvin here? You see he's running to the outside. Irvin was back on this left side. That's Harper there that they threw the ball to.
Here's Jet. Back to punt and Meggett back deep. Coming after it. And don't get there. High kick by Jet. Meggett gets away from it. It takes a little giant hop. And another giant hop for the Cowboys down it. 5:35 left to play Dallas has 2 timeouts left. The Giants only have 1. 13-10 Cowboys. Today's game was produced by Bob Stinner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The coordinating producer of the NFL today is Eric Mann, directed by Larry Cavallina. Senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Doran, and the executive in charge of production is Rick Gentile. 1st and 10 Giants. The ball's at their 17. They trail by a field goal, and Sims back to throw it. Got him.
It's interesting that Chris Callaway, I think, has become Phil Simms' favorite target. He may have lost a little confidence in some of his other guys, but it looks like when he really needs something now today, the guy that he's going to is Callaway.
He has 5 catches for 42 yards, 2nd and 1. Hampton behind Sims. Hampton gets the handoff and gets the first down to the 30. 77,430 in attendance today, the biggest crowd ever.
I heard that they were outside today. They were climbing the fences trying to get in here. They were trying to sneak in, come in the back door, back gates, over the gate, anywhere. Don't see any empty seats, and no one here is going to leave this one early either.
1st and 10. Mark Jackson has no catches in this half since again Hampton. Whirls out to the 35, stopped by Ken Norton.
I mean, Hampton's running like a Pro Bowler now in this second half. He's not even worried about those blockers. You know, they have the traps and the guys coming across and stuff, and he's just taking that ball and just slamming it right up in there.
2nd and 5. Giants in a hurry. 4:12 left to play. Dallas ahead by a field goal. Hampton nudges ahead again. Tony Tolbert. The Giant Pro Bowl selections: Sims, Elliott, Oates. Jumbo Elliott's been playing with a bad back for about the last 2 months. Clock running now. Lawrence Taylor. He's brought it back to the old level today.
It's fun seeing him play that way.
3rd and 1. Hampton is the runner. And he gets the carry. He gets the first down. With Casillas draped around him, they'll move the sticks.
You know, sometimes you see a guy that's just not going to be denied. And that's Rodney Hampton. I mean, watch him take the ball here and just run in there. He's just not going to be denied. I mean, if you have blocking good, there's pretty good blocking. They pick off Norton there. They just give him a little crease. But Rodney Hampton was not going to be stopped before he got that first down.
1st and 10 Giants at their own 43. Hampton is again behind Sims. And Sims will throw this time. Chris Callaway wide open, and Callaway gets to the Dallas 40.
You know, with a score 13-10, we know that this is a regular season game, so there's just one period of overtime, and there's just one little thing here that no one's talked about. If this game ends in a tie, the Cowboys win. And that's where, you know, they say the Giants didn't lose anything last week, losing to the Cardinals. That's what they lost. They have to win. They cannot tie. The Cowboys can tie.
If there is a tie, as you said, the Cowboys are the champions. This is Hampton to the 35. Hammering on first down. Over his left side, Darren Smith came up to make the stop.
This is football. Listen to this crowd. They're all standing up. Woo!
2 minutes left to play. Dallas leads by 3. And Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden. 2 minutes left to go. Dallas leading 13-10. The Giants and Cowboys both only have 1 timeout left. Dan Reeves, no matter what happens, what a job he's done.
He and his staff this entire year coming in, George Young, the general manager. I mean, the job they have done of changing this team around has been outstanding.
2nd and 5. That's Pierce in motion. This is Rodney Hampton. Hampton at about the 33. Everett and Kevin Smith came up to make the stop.
It was a heck of a job by Thomas Everett, because watch 61 Cratch. He's going to come out here and pull. You see, you get him. He's going to come right there. Boom! He picks off his guy right there. Jared Bunch gets a lead there, but they didn't get Thomas Everett, who was coming in from that backside.
That makes it 3rd and 3. Washington, the safety man, the last man, made the stop.
I don't know what Rodney Hampton did at halftime or what they said to Rodney Hampton, but I'll guarantee you this is a different guy in the second half that was out here in the first half. Watch him hit that trap here. You see the man blocking, the center gets his man, Cratch gets his guy. I'll tell you, they did an outstanding job. They just took those two tackles the way they wanted to go. The center's right out there. Boom, he gets Norton. And a big play and a big hole for Rodney Hampton.
That's Thomas Everett. The injured Cowboy. Rodney Hampton only had 20-odd yards in the first half, 27, I believe. In the other championship game, Detroit 30-20 over Green Bay.
Thomas Everett leaving the field. He was the guy that made that tackle. Now, again, the Giants have to be thinking here, taking time off the clock. There's a minute, 9 seconds. They don't want the Cowboys to get the ball back again. They have to think of scoring a touchdown to win the game. But if they get to a 4th down, they still have to kick the field goal, even though that would give them a tie, because we do have an overtime period, 1 period of overtime.
1st down, Giants at the Dallas 23.
Jimmy Johnson didn't expect to be in this position. I don't think Dan Reeves did either. I didn't think either coach thought at the end of the 4th quarter, with a minute left, the score was going to be 13-10.
1 timeout left for both teams, a minute 9 on the clock. Hampton again. And to about the 18. Stopped by Darren Smith. And Rodney Hampton up in a hurry.
You know, the scorekeeper, I think, Pat, was so excited he forgot to start the clock.
2nd and 7, the Giants in a hurry. Sims gives to Hampton and down to inside the 15. Stopped by Leon Lent. 38 seconds left, and Sims, I believe, takes the Giants' last timeout.
Well, you see William Roberts there pulled, and he missed a block, and then Rodney Hampton had to do it on his own. Now, they've had 11 plays in this drive, Pat, and Rodney Hampton has had 9 of them. They said if we're going to win the game on this drive, we're going to do it to Rodney Hampton. Whereas the other 2 plays were those 2 passes to Callaway. And I think that in this situation here, they're going to have to come up with a pass.
They have no timeouts left. Hampton just went over 100 yards on the day. Dallas has 1, the Giants none in the timeout category.
You know, the way they've been running, the way Hampton's been running, they may try and pop something up the middle again. Number 59, Big Williams, Brian Williams, he made a heck of a block on that last play, big run by Hampton.
3rd and 2. Sims is going to throw it to Pierce. I don't think he got the 1st down.
They don't have any timeouts. They got to get lined up. They have to get their field goal team on the field.
They have time. Treadwell is already out there. He has made 1 from 29 yards. Down to 15 seconds. Just don't get into too big of a hurry. And now Dallas uses their last timeout.
I think that's an advantage to the Giants because I never like to run out on the field and kick a field goal without your guys getting set. Not so much for your kicker or your holder, but the guy that has to snap, he only wants to dry his hand. The guys that have to block, they kind of get their assignments down. The wings get down what they have to do. And so I think that Dallas taking that timeout, I think, was an advantage to the Giants here.
This will be from 31 yards for that man, David Treadwell, when the timeout is over. We were talking the other day. We haven't had an overtime game in so long. Looks like we've got one if David Treadwell can hit. It looks as if we'll have one.
You know, it's kind of fitting. I mean, you could see this coming, you know, that it was going to come down to the last game between the Giants and the Cowboys and what it all meant, and maybe it should come down to this.
Moran holding for David Treadwell. And Treadwell's kick is good. It's 13-13. How could a regular season end any better than this?
It couldn't. And this is football. I mean, this is, you know, not one team outmatched. These are two even teams. These are two teams that have played as hard as you can. Two coaches that have coached as hard as you can. Guys that have left everything they had out on the field. One's going to play next week and one's not. You know, when we were talking to Jimmy Johnson last night, he said it would really be tough to lose this game and come back and win next week. He said he doesn't know if he would be able to get his guys up again. And you can see why. I mean,
oh, sure.
Both these teams have left everything they got, and the team that loses, I don't know that you can get it back in a week. See that shot of Bill Sims there, how cool he was?
So emotionally draining when you get yourself to a point like this and then lose. And then do you get back? Can you get back? Physically, maybe. Emotionally, I'm not sure.
But on the other hand, it could be the lift that could lift the winning team right to the Super Bowl. I mean, to play a tough game like this and win this game, you know, that may be the thing that the winning team needs.
Aloiso has the ball blow off the tee just as he arrived.
What would have you ever had that happen as a kicker where it would blow off? Now again, if you don't kick it, there's no kick. But if it starts to blow off and you hit it,
it's a kickoff.
I know. Watch that thing. I mean, just boom. See, before he gets there, so he can pull his leg back. After that happened once, then they have to get a holder up there for him.
Neither team with a timeout.
Of course, the clock stops here because of change of possession, so that means there's 6 seconds on the clock. The Cowboys are going to get one more play in regulation. Now, the only thing here we know is they can go for some big play, but the game cannot end, or this period cannot end on a defensive penalty.
They're just going to run it out and send it into overtime. So let's, John Madden, take a look at the rules in overtime.
Well, they have a coin toss now. Then there's only going to be one 15-minute period. Now, the teams use their timeouts already, but now they both get 2 more timeouts. And, of course, the first team to score wins the game. Now, if no one scores in that 15-minute period, of course, then the game ends in a tie. Now, if it ends in a tie, the Cowboys win.
The Cowboys would win the NFC East.
Yeah, the Cowboys in this period can play for a tie. The Giants have to play for the win.
Some facts about overtime. The teams that have won the toss have won 47% of the games. The teams that lost the toss, 46%. Let's listen. Jerry Mark Wright.
This is the head. This is the tail. Visitor will call the toss. Call it in the air. Tails is the call. It's heads. The Giants win the toss.
I'm surprised at those statistics we just had, that the team that won the toss in overtime doesn't win more often.
Everyone talks about that, but it's about 50-50.
Yep. 13-13, and we're headed for overtime.
What's in the back?
What makes adrenaline flow? And to me, it's always been finality.
The largest crowd at Giant Stadium in the history of this place, and they're all still here. They picked the right contest, didn't they?
If you're going to come to one, if you're going to climb over a fence and get a hole in your britches getting in, you better get a game like this.
And again, the ball blows off the tee.
We just set an NFL record, Pat, for balls that blowing off tees. But these soccer-style guys put them on differently, too. I mean, they got the thing sideways and upside down, and look, they got to get it perfectly and, you know, and tilted, and they got one white shoe, one black shoe, and the old days when you kicked was a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. If the ball blew off the tee, the coach chewed you out. It wasn't the wind, it was you. Murray's kick goes to Megan at the goal line. And Megan is down at about the 18 by Joe Fishback. And so the Giants in overtime will have first track.
Well, they started like this in their last drive to tie it up. Of course, the couple passes to Callaway, but the big thing was Rodney Hampton running with the ball. Michael Irvin over there, I think probably a little frustrated. Hasn't seen much action in the second half. And in the last half hour or so, the Cowboys haven't had the ball.
Well, you were talking about all those weapons they have, but they haven't been able to utilize those weapons.
That's the best way. Keep those weapons on the bench.
Bill Sims puts Jackson in motion. And gives to Hampton, who has the collision behind the line of scrimmage and gets perhaps a yard. Tony Tolbert caused the collision.
Rodney Hampton doesn't look tired. You know, you look at him, I was looking to see, you wonder how much more he has in his tank, you know, because he came out in really that third and fourth quarter. I mean, he played a bundle. And you wonder, you know, how he's going to do in overtime. If you just look at him there, he doesn't look tired at all.
2nd and 9. Here is Sims to Hampton. Rodney Hampton stayed on his feet. Dive for the first down marker is about a yard short. Hit by Darren Woodson.
But that's a different thing in this game. There's a different thing in this second half. You know, you don't see guys just running out of bounds, you know, or just get, I mean, they're stretching, they're trying to get the ball, they're trying to get another yard, just everything you got. You know, if you got it in you, you got to give it now.
3rd and 1. You would expect Hampton. Maybe that's why you won't get him. Yes, you do. He gets the first down and more. Woodston up to make the hit. That offensive line of the Giants now doing an outstanding job.
And Darren Woodson is a good tackle. He's like a linebacker, but Rodney Hampton really finished off this run. Starts with a good double team, a good block in there, and then Hampton just finishes it off over Woodson. Look at that hole he has there. And he knows that he's going to put that licking on Woodson and get another yard and get that first down.
The Giants up their own 31. 13-10 left in overtime. Sims again to Rocky Hampton. Hampton up to the 35. Felt his way for about 3. Lett and Dixon Edwards on the stop.
You know, I think that, you know, Rodney Hampton didn't make the Pro Bowl. He had the knee injury. Remember, he had the surgery and he missed some games, but On this effort that he's at here, 30 rushes, 114 yards. The second half, I know one team he's going to make this year.
Well, he didn't play in that first game against the Cowboys. Second down. Cowboys showing blitz. Sims back to throw, and the ball comes loose. This one goes forward, however, and a flag on the play. Casillas hit Sims just as he let it go. This is going to be against the Giants, probably holding.
Now you can see the way Phil Sims threw his hands down, the way Jimmy Johnson threw his hands backwards. You know that it's against the Giants. You don't know what it is.
We have a personal foul, illegal chop block. Number 59, offense. 15-yard penalty. 15-yard penalty, second down.
Brian Williams is 59.
An illegal chalk block is when a guy has a guy stood up and he's engaged with one blocker, and then you come in and chop him. Now you can chop him, but you can't do it if he's engaged with another blocker. So what happened is he was engaged with the guard, and then Williams went to help him and chopped him.
So it's second down and 22 make it. The Giants back at the 20-yard line. Meggett has stood out wide left with McCaffrey. Here's the reverse to Meggett, who's going to throw it. Or start to, and now Meggett's going to take off. And Jim Jeffcoat got him around the ankle. Did you check the balloon that flew into that play just as it started?
I saw the balloon going right by, and I saw Meggett coming on a reverse, and he was trying to throw to Callaway. Here he comes here. Here's Callaway. That's the guy that they're trying to get to, but they didn't fool anyone.
And there goes the balloon.
Yeah, the balloon's right there in the middle. You see down here, see the good coverage down there. They covered Callaway right in here, so then Meggett had to run with the ball.
Third and 16. Meggett was tripped up by Jeffcoat, and he was hurt, so Meggett has left.
And the balloon just went around across the goal line.
The balloon is going in to be x-rayed.
Well, you Meggett, you see, it was his knee looked like he buckled under as he was being tackled.
Overtime, 13 all. Time at Giant Stadium, 13-13, Dallas and New York. Third down, about 16. Meggett is coming back into the game.
Yeah, watch what happened, Pat. Yeah, this is, it looks like just as he goes down there, his foot gets caught and his knee kind of gets hyperextended. Whew.
Tripped up by Jeffcoat and another Cowboy.
These guys are so strong. It's just sometimes it's just amazing what their bodies can take. And when you get in a point like this, and a guy like Dave Meggett, who's a big third down guy for the Giants, he's not going to miss third down in overtime against the Cowboys for the championship.
Third and 16. Everybody was onside that time. Here's Sims, and he's going to take off, and he's going to be downed at the 30. Darren Woodson with a clutch tackle.
Again, the thing that Phil Sims wants to do here in the shotgun is you would like to get a completion, but the thing you don't want to do is you see here, everyone is covered. There's no one open here. There's no one to throw it to, so you don't want to force something in there. So if you're not going to force it, the next best thing is run as far as you can, punt the ball, play defense.
Moran's kick. Kevin Williams just runs away from it, and it bounces down to about the 30. Whitmer downs it there, a 45-yard punt. Let's see if Emmitt Smith is in the game, and yes, indeed he is. Aikman just joined the huddle. First and 10 Cowboys at their own 25. Emmitt Smith has carried 26 times, 151 yards.
And these fans were given a standing ovation for their defense. They want their defense to come up now.
Aikman gives to Smith. Smith lunges underneath tacklers for about 3, and he's going at about, well, maybe half speed right now. Speed, yes, but his arm is really bothering him. Detroit will host. They win the NFC Central. Second and 8. Here's Aikman. Drops it to Smith. Stopped short of the first down by Corey Miller.
You know, Smith may only have one arm, but they're still going to him. They ran him to the right, and then they passed, and they threw the ball to him. Look at him here. He's in the backfield, lined up behind the tackle. He just circles out and then comes in underneath. They hit that underneath pass again. That's one of their plans against that loose cover 2, is to hit the underneath pass.
Dallas will go with 3 wide receivers. And Novacek, 3rd and 2. Aikman will throw it. He gets it out to Emmitt Smith, and he'll have the Dallas first down out to the 30, out to the 44. Talk about your tough guys. There's one.
And then not only that, not only is he a tough guy, not only is he in there, but he's the go-to guy.
John, you know that Jimmy Johnson and the Cowboys are aware that a tie gives them the championship and the week off. Is there any point in their mind that they play for a tie?
Yeah, I mean, and the way they do that is they just don't rush anything. They just want to keep their time, move the ball, keep it away from the Giants.
Emmitt Smith again. Smith hit down at the 45-46, slowly gets up.
Although they would have a tough time running 9 minutes off of the clock without scoring. I think if they keep moving the ball and they keep doing that they're going to score before time's going to run out.
It'll bring up a 2nd and 8 situation. Now 8:40 left to play. Emmitt Smith down on the sideline. He is hurting. Lincoln Coleman has taken his place. And you know, they have said to him over and over, hang on to the ball if you get it. Aikman to Darrell Johnson. That's close to a first down.
That was a heck of a throw by Troy Aikman. That's probably why they're paying him $50 million. He was going to throw it to Lincoln Coleman out in the sideline, and he looked and he looked and he looked, and then he came back to Johnson. Watch, he's trying to hit 44 out there to the side. See him look there, and watch him turn back. Zip right in there to Darrell Johnson.
They'll move the sticks. First down. Enough on the completion. There was a penalty on the play. That was declined, and Dallas takes the first down. Aikman, 23 out of 29. Coleman is the deep back, and he gets the carry. Lincoln Coleman to about the 45. Bailey and Brooks. 8 minutes left down in overtime. 13-13, Cowboys and the Giants.
And Emmitt Smith is coming back in. You know the go-to guys have always been Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin. I think Michael Irvin's only caught 1 pass his second half. And again, part of it is that coverage that the Giants use. But you would think the other thing is they ought to try and get the ball to him because he's their other big playmaker. The number 1 big playmaker is Emmitt Smith, and he proved that today.
Here's Aikman. To Emmitt Smith. Smith short of the first down by about a yard. And he gets up again in pain. Corey Miller made the stop.
Emmitt Smith ran what they call a choice route there. But if you watch the coverage, here's Michael Irvin out here. And now they're going to bump him and then have the safety come over to this side. You see, and that's the reason they're throwing the underneath stuff. See, they got the bump. The safety coming over, they really got 2 guys watching him all the time, and that's why Aikman's taking the underneath.
Again on 3rd and short. They go with their short yardage formation. They give the ball to Smith, and Smith gets the first down. We're in overtime at Giant Stadium, 13-13. Dallas Dallas football at the Giant 35. Emmitt Smith was hurt earlier, his shoulder, right shoulder, but he's played with that pain, with the exception of a couple of plays. Dallas has a first down at the Giant 35 in overtime, 6:14 left to play. First and 10, Novacek was the man in motion. Here's Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith hammers inside the 25. Stopped by Guyton.
I think, Pat, of all the games we've done together over the years, I don't know that we've ever seen two running backs have a better day and a tougher day. I mean, look at Emmitt Smith, 30 rushes, 168 yards. Rodney Hampton, 30 rushes, 114 yards. I mean, I don't know that I've ever, we've seen one back have great days, but I don't know that we've ever seen, especially like these two guys have today.
Here's Smith again. Over the left side, Smith scored the only touchdown. That was on a pass reception.
Yeah, because in addition to what he's done on the ground, he's also caught 10 passes today for 60 yards, and like you said, the touchdown.
Eddie Murray loosening up on the sideline. Clock running now. It'll tick down to about 5 minutes before they run another play. 13-13. The end of the year, Detroit beat Green Bay, so they won the NFC Central. The winner here wins the NFC East. Smith breaks one tackle, gets to the 24. Jesse Campbell and Lawrence Taylor made the stop.
When those people say that professional athletes are paid too much money and Emmitt Smith gets too much money and he's overpaid, got to get under those shoulder pads today and see who gets paid too much money. This is what great players get paid a lot of money for.
Somebody else is going to have to pick it up because he's going to be sore.
You talk about emptying your tank. We've seen Emmitt Smith empty his tank before, and he really emptied it today. They're in the reserve.
Third down, Dallas timeout. So they have one left in overtime, as do the Giants.
Hey, Dragger Racing!
We want to watch the dog show.
Okay, we can watch both. Sunday, Miller Lite presents the Wiener Dog International. Muffy versus Dogzilla. And here they come, Bob. Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste with less filling.
Third down, the Cowboys have put their kicker Eddie Murray in the game. With Jay Novacek to hold. Murray is 2 for 2 on the day, along with 38. This will be from 41.
One of the advantages of going for it on third down, if anything bad happens, you still have the ball. The other advantage is the possibility of a fake, because if it doesn't work, you can still kick it again.
They go a long time. Timeout has been called by the Giants. Reeves, Dan Reeves yelling.
He was yelling for that timeout. He wanted to do it, and now he's bringing his whole team over there because I think they want to talk about that if they kick the field goal and it's good, they're going to lose the game. But by the same token, they know it's third down, that you have to be alert. You have to be alert for the fake field goal. So do you go all out and try and block the field goal, or do you play it safe for the fake? And that's the advantage of going for it on third down.
Dan Reeves was saying to us about the work that a head coach and assistant coaches have to put in to be in the position that they are in. But he said there is no feeling of exhilaration like you get on Sunday afternoon.
I'll tell you, the high of the team that wins this game is going to be as high as you can get, and the low of the team that loses is going to be as low as you can get.
Murray's kick is high enough and long enough and right down the middle. From 41 yards out, Eddie Murray. With 4:16 left in overtime, Eddie Murray wins it for Dallas. And they're the NFC Eastern Division champions. Now that picture, if you're a Giant, says it all. Not for him, but for the player. That one.
It's one of those things at the end of a game like this, Pat, and you look at the guys and everything that they gave, you would like to say that it's too bad that someone had to lose, and that's the way you feel. I mean, both these teams in this game gave everything they had. This was a professional football game.
This is as good as you'll see it.
For all of them, I mean, the emotion,
Yep.
the crisp, the tackle, the hard hitting, guys gutting it up, giving everything they had.
Here at Giant Stadium, the final score then is Dallas 16, the Giants 13. Stay tuned for the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry will have all the scores and highlights. You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Excuse me, can you stop and show me what kind of batteries you have in there?
Sure. Sure, sir.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, they are fun.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, positive.
Yeah, I got one other question for you.
Well,
Yeah. Why do they last so long?
Duracell. No other battery lasts longer.
Oxygen.
In the first half, plays the entire second half in overtime with that shoulder hanging limp. Reportedly just bruised. X-rays didn't find anything, but it was battered throughout the rest of the game, and he just limped off to the locker room a little while ago. An amazing effort by Emmitt Smith. We have him for 172 yards rushing today. We'll try to verify that for you. Lots to come. A lot of joy, as you can imagine. Those Cowboy players were laughing big time going to the locker room. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
It's time for friends to fly free on Southwest Airlines.
Wake up and smell the coffee.
And people are friendlier than ever. Just make reservations at least a day in advance and buy your round-trip ticket at Southwest's regular low unrestricted fare, and a friend flies with you, free, anywhere we fly.
Joe, Dad, what do you think?
Friends fly free on Southwest Airlines.
We are back at the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. You'll have to forgive us as we're a little excited. Haven't seen many games like that. Haven't attended any at all like that. As Eddie Murray splits the uprights with 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in overtime to give the Cowboys a 16-13 win. It did appear the Cowboys were cruising pretty well. 13-0 lead at halftime. And then a blocked punt early in the third quarter by the Cowboys, at least partially blocked, was fielded on the run by Kevin Williams. Probably not the best decision Kevin's made this year as he fumbled that away. And then you could see the momentum turn, the Giants steadily marching and doing some good work of their own and eventually tying the game up with 10 seconds left. We go to overtime. The Giants get the ball and do nothing with it. The Cowboys drive, put together a very impressive drive under pressure and on the road. And again, we point to the efforts of Emmitt Smith. We have him for 172 yards rushing, a 35-yard lead coming into this game. So he should be well ahead of anything Jerome Bettis could do against Chicago today. Of course, that's all speculation. That game just underway. We hope to talk to many players. Of course, Jimmy Johnson will be in the media room in just a second. Maybe he's in the locker room right now yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" As the Cowboys get a week off now, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The Minnesota Vikings will travel here to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants next week. San Francisco also with a bye. Detroit beats Green Bay today, so they'll flip it around, and Green Bay will visit Detroit once again to see who advances in the playoffs. And the Cowboys, again, retain home field advantage throughout. Troy Aikman, we had him 25 for 29 today, and that may well give him a passing title this year. Teamed up with Emmitt Smith. That's quite an impressive offensive effort for the Cowboys. Again, Emmitt sits out the first two games of the season, doesn't play much against Phoenix, is injured against Atlanta,
an incredible effort today as he was injured. That long run, that 46-yard run in the first half, as he went down and was tackled, he fell on his right shoulder, and that apparently bruised it. The ACL joint is what they said. Sent him in for x-rays, but he was back in the second half and pounding it out. He was, of course, bothered by that, as he, whenever he left the game, would have that hanging low, but he managed to keep coming in. As one doctor told me, Emmitt comes out when Emmitt wants to come out, and that's it. And apparently he kept putting himself back into the lineup, and he was a big part of that last drive. 16-13, the Cowboys win it in overtime. There must be euphoria in the locker room. We know we're going to get a good one from Jimmy Johnson. Probably not the game you might have expected. The Cowboys favored by, 6.5 going into this game. A lot of fans thought maybe if the weather was good, which it was, that they would have a big game, but they did not. Of course, a lot of media representatives crowding the Cowboy locker room. They are not yet in. Cowboys collecting themselves and celebrating a little bit. We're hoping to talk to Jerry Jones to see if he'll come visit us. I think he may be with another media person. So we're just going to wait. This is not unlike the situation that we saw last year in San Francisco and also some of the bigger games, certainly the Super Bowl. They deserve every bit of congratulations they get from their coach because they certainly did tough it out this afternoon. Again, weather was not a factor. It was feared all during the week by Cowboy fans, but it really was a beautiful sunny day to start. Clouded up a bit. The wind often a factor during the day today. Oh, here he comes. Thank you for coming over to see us.
Well, Michael,
congratulations. What's this T-shirt say?
By the way, someone, and I could kill him because I'm superstitious, had these printed up. They're giving them to the players in the dressing room, but designates our NFC East championship. And what a delirious dressing room in there. And, boy, those players fought and coaches fought, and what a win and what a way to get it.
You've lost your voice again.
Well, that's easy to do out there. And, Emmitt's sitting inside on the dressing room table, kind of stooped over and in a lot of pain there. Yeah. And I think we all recognize the contribution he made with a lot of pain out there today.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jerry Jones. We're going to see what your head coach has to say about the win. Congratulations. Jimmy Johnson's post-game comments.
We had some tremendous performances by some individuals that were probably a little banged up, but they were bound and determined they were going to get the win, Emmitt Smith being one of them. I felt like the second half that once we got the win, we'd be able to get some points. I was disappointed we didn't move the ball there, but that's a credit to the Giants' defense. They adjusted the second half. We were able to hit some stuff underneath on them in the first half, and they took some of it away the second half. Just really, really happy the way the guys played. And the Giants, they did the same. It was a great football game.
I know you don't have your recorder with you, but how impressed were you with Emmitt playing more than a half with that bad shoulder and still doing as well?
Well, I talked to Emmitt 2 or 3 times throughout the ball game, and we were going to play Lincoln some, and he said, no, he said, I want to finish the ball game. I want to be the guy. And even there at the end, I talked to him. He said, I said, hey, we're going to put Lincoln in there some for you. And he said, no, Coach, he says, let me play until I can't play, and I'll come out, and when I come out, let Lincoln go in. And the guy's just a tremendous competitor.
Murray coming through with the kick, the kind of kick that you thought he could do when you brought him in?
Yeah, we actually, I guess when you win a game like this, you can kind of have a little bit of humor there in the locker room. I made mention to the players. A lot of times when we go through our field goals in practice, I'll look back at Troy when he's usually warming up, and I'll scream up across the field. I say, $20 on this one. And I was down $20 because Eddie had missed one back about a month or 2 ago, and that was in the practice. And so I said, before this one, I said, I got $20, and of course Troy, he's betting he's going to make it too. But I'm slick with Troy right now.
What'd you say to Kevin Williams after he must have won?
Oh, Kevin's just trying to make a play, trying to keep the ball from rolling down deep into our territory. He thought he could make the play. He was on the dead run. And he muffed the thing. I said, hey, just hang in there. That's fine. Kevin has played great and made some great decisions in the kicking game here, for really the last 12 games or so. And so I said, hey, don't worry about it. You're going to make a big play here later on.
How glad are you don't have to come back here now?
Well, we've been here twice in the last 3 weeks, and so I'm glad that we're going to be at Texas Stadium for a while now.
Any advantage to playing the Vikings next week since you just played them less than a month ago?
I have a feeling we'll probably see the Giants here in a couple of weeks.
I've got my weeks wrong.
Jimmy, what about Jim Jeffcoat? in the game you had today?
Yeah, Jim played well. Especially when Russell went out, we had to put Leon inside at tackle, and so, we weren't expecting to play Jim as much as what we did, and so he went in and really did a good job for us.
Jim, was this the kind of game you expected here, real tight?
Yeah,
last second?
I didn't want it to be, and in fact, I said last night to the CBS crew, I said, I don't want to see a real tight ball game. I want to try to do some things to try to keep it from being a tight ball game. But unfortunately, the Giants had different ideas.
One of those things, the onside kick.
Yeah, and we were going into the wind too. I didn't want to kick into the wind and give them good field position. I thought we had a shot at getting the onside kick. One of my old recruits, Armstead, though, got it. I should have known he's too good an athlete to trick him.
I got here late. How about Emmitt? Do you have any word on him? And how about getting some time off? What is that going to do for this team?
Well, yeah, I'm going to give the guys a couple of days off, and so we'll go back to work Wednesday. And so, we can kind of heal up a little bit. When you have as physical a game as what we had today, it's going to take something out of you. And, I know it's going to be a chore, for the Giants. They're going to have to respond. It's going to be good for us to have a little bit of time off because it was a physical game.
Were you surprised at how physical the game was when the Giants came out in the second half?
No, I mean, I knew going up against the Giants, they're number one in the league in defense against scoring, and you just don't get big plays on them. And if you don't get turnovers, and they very rarely turn it over, you have a tough time getting points, and that's exactly what happened.
Just the thought of winning the game, winning everything.
Well, to be able to, everybody talks about Super Bowl hangover and this and that, and there's no question we have gone through more this year than I ever imagined, with all the injuries that we've had, with the holdout, with the bizarre Thanksgiving game, on and on. It has been a crazy year, and we've had to play without some of our star players at times. But I think that maybe this can take away from some people saying, well, hey, you won the Super Bowl last year, and you're going to fall on your face this year. We won the division 2 years in a row, and we got home field advantage. I don't know how much further we're going to go, but I like our chances.
Well, Jimmy Johnson's post-game press conference will probably go on for a good deal longer, but we feel you've gotten the meat of that. He mentioned Russell Maryland. We should also take note of his injury. Russell goes out in the first quarter with what seems to be a sprained ankle. They x-rayed it, and by all accounts, those x-rays were negative. We'll see what the players think about all this as Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment.
All guests on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show received the following gifts: a Saturday night getaway at the Grand Kempinski Dallas, plus Sunday brunch for two in the Malachite Showroom. The Grand Kempinski Dallas, Europe on the toll road. Guests also receive a $100 gift certificate from the Room Store, home of fine furniture and accessories. We put it all together and save you more at the Room Store. A $100 gift certificate from Fuller's Jewelry, good for a Seiko watch. Fuller's Jewelry, where we treat you like one of the family. And the star of the game receives a picture-perfect television from Mitsubishi Electronics. Nothing delivers the excitement of sport like a big-screen Mitsubishi TV. And now the Dallas Cowboys postgame show continues with Michael Ray and Brad Sham.
We are back at the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. Michael Ray filling in just for a second for Brad Sham because he's had to make his way down through an extraordinary media crush from the play-by-play booth. He did work hard today. And, Brad, I'll let you have Jim Jeffcoat in a fine game.
Yeah, I didn't do anything, but Jim Jeffcoat had just a little bit to do with the Cowboys win. I think 2 sacks. I think the one that went out of bounds, they just called a fumble. But can you express, first of all, you seem awfully calm to me. I would expect to see you jumping up and down a little more.
Well, I realize this win the NFC Championship or the NFC East gives us a week's rest. But I realize this is not our true goal. Our true goal is to get back to the Super Bowl, and we have a lot left. Personally, it's a good feeling because, I grew up here. I grew up 20 minutes away from here, and I've always dreamed about having a crucial game here. It was just a great feeling.
And Jim, through the years, has told me he never really has cared very much for Phil Simms. Maybe respected him as a professional, but never cared for him very much. And today you walked off the field a winner. Can you account for the different way the two halves of football were played?
The only thing I can say is that, they're an excellent team, and they tried to make plays in the second half, and they did. They made some plays, and that's just the way football games are. One half you can be up on, and then the next half they can be on. So it was just that kind of game, a topsy-turvy game.
Tell me what you're talking about in the second half when they're driving and they played their kind of football in the second half.
That's exactly right. They controlled the ball and ran well, and that's the thing that we have to really work on. If Russell Maryland's hurt, then that means I'm thrust into the starting position again, and I really have to work on controlling the run.
Were there anything that they did schematically, blocking schemes or whatever, different in the second half?
Not really. They pulled a little more and trapped a little more, but not the. You just got to give Rodney Hampton credit. He's a great back, and he would have been in the Pro Bowl if he was in the AFC. It's just the NFC. There's so many good backs.
What's having a week off mean to you personally?
It means that I can get a little better conditioning in and a little better shape and get ready for the single elimination, get ready for what we really came for and what we play a season for, to play for the Super Bowl.
All right. Jim Jeffcoat being very matter-of-fact about it, but he had an outstanding game in the Cowboys' win over the Giants. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment. Brad Sham back at Giants Stadium. The Cowboys beat the Giants in overtime today, 16-13, win the NFC Eastern Division Championship and get the home field advantage through the playoffs. Let me tell you about a couple of things while we wait for our next guest. Emmitt Smith is our star of the game, and we probably won't get a chance to talk to him in this postgame show because he's still getting medical attention, and he is in a great deal of pain. If you listen to the game on the radio today and you heard me say Troy Aikman got ill during the game on the sideline, that wasn't quite correct. He did not get ill. He did not get sick. He did not throw up. He had another minor emergency that had to be taken care of and but he did not become ill. I just wanted that noted for the record. Next week, the Dallas Cowboys are idle, and they will wait for the other two games to be played next Saturday and Sunday. Now, the Giants will have a home game against the Minnesota Vikings. They haven't said yet, but I'm guessing that game would be Saturday since Minnesota played on Friday. Green Bay and Detroit will meet again next week right where they did today in Detroit because the Lions won. That made them the Central Division champions in the NFC, and it made Green Bay, in effect, the third wild card in the NFC tournament because if you really want to know this much about it, Minnesota, by beating Green Bay twice this year, had a tiebreaker edge on the Packers. That's why Minnesota comes to the Meadowlands next week to play the Giants, and why Green Bay and Detroit meet again in the first week of the playoffs, and that'll be, as we said, in Detroit in the Silverdome. And then who Dallas and San Francisco will play depends on who wins the games next week, because Dallas is the top seed in the NFC tournament. If Green Bay were to beat Detroit next week, it wouldn't matter what would happen in the other game. Green Bay would come to Dallas. But if Detroit wins, then Detroit would go to San Francisco, and the Giants-Minnesota winner would come to Texas Stadium on the weekend of the 15th and 16th of January in the divisional round. And again, the specific dates and matchups will be determined by what happens next week in the wild card round. And the AFC playoffs are not going to be settled for a little while yet, because that Raiders-Denver game determines could determine whether the Raiders get in. So there were 15 different combinations of things that could have happened in the AFC today to determine the two final playoff spots, and it could conceivably go all the way to that New York Jets-Houston game tonight, depending on how everything else shakes out. Again, Emmitt Smith is getting medical attention, and he and Russell Maryland were the two big injury casualties for the Cowboys in their game today, and I would think there would be two great reasons why this team needs to have its week off and not have to worry about playing a game next week. So the Cowboys with a 16-13 overtime win, and we have to go back a little while in the record book and see when their last overtime win was. Their last overtime game was that game in Houston a couple of years ago. Ironically, they looked like they had won, and Emmitt Smith had what may have been the very first fumble of his Cowboys career, and one of the very few ones, and because of that, the Cowboys looked like they were in position that day to move into the middle of the field for a game-winning field goal. Emmitt Smith fumbled the ball in overtime, and the Oilers were able to recover and win. The Cowboys' last overtime win, off the top of my head, may have been in New England back in the late 80s when Herschel Walker was playing, but we'll look that up and let you have the exact information. The most important thing today is that Dallas beat the Giants 16-13 in overtime at Giants Stadium, and we'll have more when Dallas Cowboys football continues in a moment. Welcome back to Giants Stadium in the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Cowboys beat the New York Giants in overtime today, 16-13. The final score, Eddie Murray's 42-yard field goal won it. And that was after the Giants had done a terrific job of killing effectively the last 5.5 minutes of regulation time and driving down to David Treadwell's field goal that wound up tying the game. And I would imagine that the New York newspapers in particular and talk shows will be asking some questions of Dan Reeves, the Giants coach, about why he seemed content to settle for the tie at the end of the regulation period in the game instead of trying to score a touchdown. It looked like, at least to an observer, that he was just marching down and trying to set things up to settle for the tie, which he got. And then, of course, the Cowboys were able to do their business in overtime and win the Eastern Division Championship. And in no small measure, the work of Ken Norton, the Cowboys' Pro Bowl middle linebacker, and Division Championship middle linebacker. Congratulations to you on this game. Tell me what your emotions are right now.
We felt going in this game, on the road, a hostile environment. We just want to come down here and do what we need to do to win the game. Not get too high, not to get too low. Just be consistent throughout the day. And we felt that we won in the end, and that's exactly what we did.
And two different games, two different complete styles of game. In the first half, you seem to be able to control the tempo, even though your offense wasn't able to score all the points it wanted. What happened differently in the second half?
I just think that both teams are kind of playing with the wind and against the wind. With the wind, they wanted to throw. Against the wind, they wanted to run and things like that. And it just seemed like second half, our offense kind of slowed down a little bit, and their offense kind of stayed on the field a long time, and we needed to tighten up as a defense. But anytime you can play 5 quarters and keep them down to 13 points defensively, we feel good.
I should imagine you do. What was it that they did on that last drive, that 5.5-minute drive at the end of regulation, to keep churning yardage out and holding the ball?
They did a good job of mixing it up, a little run to pass, and kind of run a couple of plays that we hadn't seen before. And you got to give them to them. They're the number 1 rushing team in the league, and they ran well today.
Now, might be an unfair question until you have a chance to look at the films, but I'll be dying to know what happened on 3rd and 17 when Charles Haley wound up covering Rodney Hampton 30 yards downfield, and he hit that pass that set up a score.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough situation. You never want to get a defensive lineman on a running back like that. But Charles was just heads up play by Charles. He wasn't even supposed to be there. He just saw the guy leaking out, and one of our nickel guys was supposed to be on top of the back, and he didn't do it, and Charles saw him leaking out, so Charles just started running with him. So it kind of turned out Charles saved the touchdown, and 4 points would have been a difference in the game today.
Is this the kind of game, do you think, Ken, that you'll sit back? I'm sure right now it feels like you won a football game, like you've won a lot of football games. Do you think you'll sit back maybe in a couple of days and say, man, that was overtime for the home field, division championship, and everything else?
We knew going in it was going to be a big, hard game, and kind of during the game, you kind of say, wow, this is a tight game. This type of game you want to sit back and watch. But it was very exciting. We knew it was going to be tough. It wasn't going to be easy, and we knew them being at home, and it was going to be tough for us. And they played well. We played well. We have Eddie Murray. They don't.
Congratulations on the division championship.
Thank you.
Cowboys Pro Bowl middle linebacker Ken Norton, and now we'll talk to Cowboys Pro Bowl quarterback Troy Aikman, who had about an 80% passing day today, and again had that wind to battle at alternating ends of the field. But congratulations on the win and the division championship and everything else. Now, what was one end of the field like compared to the other?
Well, going into the win was awful tough, and I don't know. Obviously, the viewers on television couldn't get a feel for it, but what's always amazing about this stadium is up high, when you watch the flags are usually blowing in the opposite direction that the wind is blowing down on the field, and so going in the one direction for us was tough, as it was for them also.
I'm presuming from the statistics that they played you differently than they did defensively in the game in Texas Stadium, because most of your receptions today were made by running backs instead of the wide receivers.
They played us a little differently, really not all that much. We got the one touchdown. We had two long touchdown passes to Alvin the first time we met him, and one of them was just really a coverage that we should never have gotten it on. We just saw on film that their safety was being a little bit lazy, so that was rare. And really the big plays we had on them last time, they don't normally give those plays up because of the coverages that they use, and everybody's talked a lot about my completion percentage against the Giants, when the reason the percentages have always been so high is because they don't give you much up the field, and you got to be patient and take the underneath stuff, and fortunately our defense was able to keep the score down, and we were able to stay within our game plan.
Do you think that did it look to you like they were playing for a field goal at the end of the game? End of regulation?
Yeah.
It looked like that to me, and probably they were going into a stiff wind, and then with them not having any timeouts after they called their last one, it put them in a tough situation. So I don't fault them for that. I think that was probably the smart thing to do.
Now, we're not probably going to get a chance to talk to Emmitt Smith because of he's still getting some medical attention. So I'll ask you to speak for him. He's playing with one arm and had quite a game, it looked like, for a guy who's in obviously the pain he was in.
Yeah, when he went down, I guess what they diagnosed it as is first-degree separation, and to be able to come out and run the ball like he did after that, he was taking the handoffs basically with one hand. He wasn't able to get the one arm up, and so he hung in there. And we're all real proud of him, and for the job that he did. He ran exceptionally hard with that, and you got to realize is that as a running back, most of the blows that you take are going to be right on the shoulder, and so. I've had that, and I know that he was in excruciating pain, and he did a great job.
I know you can use the week off. Nice game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman, and now we'll bring in the man who did I think he said Eddie Money, did he?
I think so.
I'll tell you, what a game. Eddie Murray, outstanding game, an outstanding year, and I'm really happy for you to have a chance to be in a game like that and win that game the way you did and go on and do the things you'll have a chance to do now. What are you thinking about right now?
Well, it's definitely the biggest kick I've had in my career to date because of the fact of the circumstances to win the NFC East, to have home field advantage through the playoffs, and which is definitely a key for the Cowboys. And it's kind of making Coach Johnson's decision in the third week really a good decision. I know not only for the Cowboys but also for myself.
Now, what was the difference for you kicking at the two ends of the field today?
Well, you saw me in pregame trying to figure out what was going on,
and having a difficult time figuring it out. You look like you're having a tougher time figuring it out than you were actually kicking the ball.
Well, what I felt was the closer you got to the end where the wind was coming, the more the ball was moving, and the further you got away, the less it was moving. Although there was still a hindrance because of the wind, and with the wind, the ball was going 55, 58 for me. So as soon as Treadwell made the kick to tie it up, I just said, as long as we have the wind at our back, we crossed the 50, we got a shot. And, Troy did a great job orchestrating the offense and putting me in position to win the game.
The thing that I found amusing was that they would try to ice you. At this point, whether or not you made the kick, it wasn't going to be because they called timeout after 14 years in the league. What goes through your mind when they're doing that now?
Well, I kept looking over at Coach Hoffman, and he seemed more nervous for me than me. So when they called the timeout, and I anticipated them to do that, I looked over and I just kind of put my hands out and just said, hey, don't worry about it. I'm okay. And if anything, it was more to calm myself down also at the same time. I felt unusually calm for the kick. I felt confident going into overtime that if we had a position to kick the field goal that I'd make it.
If my chronology is right, you were in the NFC Championship game with the Lions in 91, right?
That's correct, yes.
So that was after years and years of being in Detroit. This is a completely different circumstance. And as you've said this year, you're still trying to prove to people that you're the kicker that you have been. Does this feel different for you than that?
It does. Because of the fact that the expectations here are greater than I have had in teams that I've played with before. It doesn't mean that they weren't high with the teams that I was with, but I've never been with a Super Bowl championship team. So consequently, there's more expected from the coaches, there's more expected from the players, and consequently, for the 11 weeks, or I should say the 13 weeks that I was here, I was just kind of riding their coattails and just trying to do what I could to help out, and it was the one time that they really needed me, and I'm just really grateful that I came through.
It wasn't the one time that they really needed you, but it was another time you came through, and I think set a club record for most field goals made in a season today, I believe.
Yeah, I'm very honored.
And they're pretty happy to have you. Eddie Murray, thank you very much. Eddie Money, as his teammates call him, and now we know why. Michael Ray comes back in. Do we have a time, very quickly, let's get Cowboys trainer Kevin O'Neill to come in the 10 or 15 seconds we have left. How is Emmitt Smith?
Well, he's in a lot of pain right now. He's extremely uncomfortable. He's got a shoulder sprain or separation of the AC joint, and I think that you saw one of the guttier performances that any of us have ever seen, what he did in the overtime.
Okay, we said we had 20 seconds, and the man answered it in 17. That was outstanding. Thank you, Kevin O'Neill. Let's get Michael Ray very quickly back in here. Cowboys have a week off. Emmitt needs it. Russell Merrill needs it. I need it. What the heck? I need a week.
We all need it. Well, it's like a great Ali Frazier fight to step outside the sport of football. Incredible to have witnessed it. Glad we did. We'll see what comes 2 weeks down the road. We hope you join us then as the Cowboys.
It's just plain smart.